can see this city through my watered eyes. Lets me know that I'm still here. When my eyes clear up, I will go outside. I'll imagine you're still by my side. Lets me know that I'm still here. Sometimes I want to run away, to find good times again, to find all my old friends. Run away, to the nearest place where I'll find all my old friends. Good times, I said good times, find my friends again. I said I wanna have good times, good times, find my friends again. And good times, I said good times, find my friends again. I said I wanna have good times, good times, find my friends again. And again, I said I wanna have good times, good times, find my friends again. And good times, I said good times, find my friends again. I said I wanna have good times, good times, find my friends again. And
Dance all night, dance all night.
Sleeping alone, and I've been eating alone, hiding under the stairs, even though no one's home. And if you're living in the daylight, living under
Good afternoon, evening, night, morning, if you're on the other end of the world. It is 2021 here in OCE, and it's time for our first big tournament here, not just within Rocket League Oceania, but within the region as well. It's the RLO Masters week number 1. I am Formal. Joining me is Fetch, and we're going to be covering quarters, semis, and grand final to figure out who our first real champion is going to be.
Yeah, first champion of 2021. That's going to feel absolutely massive for whoever takes that title. Of course, we have our contenders kind of lined up, ready to go. But yeah, like that's such a big deal. It's kind of weird. I didn't really internalize the fact that it is the new year until you're doing, this sort of like the first event of the year and stuff like that. So it's good to be back, though. It's so good to be back in RLO. Doing the event, it feels really good. It feels really exciting.
Yeah, I'm with you with that. I am pumped for this one. And I mean, don't worry, you're going to feel it soon, I think. I don't know how your Christmas and New Year's holidays were. Mine, I spent a lot of time relaxing. It's the first time getting all shouty yelly again. And after casting for Mind Freak before, I'm feeling it in the throat. I'm starting to feel a little bit of that wear and tear, but we're still going to be good to go in just a few moments. Our opening match, as you can see down below us, it's going to be Renegades taking on Team Fenrir. And normally you would be coming into this thinking, all right, it's the Renegades, it's RLO, should be, pretty easy goings for them, but they didn't have the cleanest road, actually, in getting through. They went up against Team Process, went 5 games. It was pretty back and forth. This is because they are running a sub today. Zayd is coming in for Sicky, and you have to think, this could actually have some pretty big effects on them if they want to make that deep run.
Yeah, that's it, right? Like, I mean, when you kind of think about Renegades, of course, you do think for them as these top dogs. I mean, if those of you who have been following through on our other broadcasts and things like that, of course, over on Max's channel as well, you will have seen that Renegades stumbled a little bit getting to this point so far. I mean, they haven't exactly been swept or, like, they haven't really even been beaten. But, like, it's a situation where they do look much more like they could be upset early in one of these rounds.
Yeah, and if the team is going to pull off that upset, I mean, Fenrir is definitely a team that can do that. Sprat, Riv, and Lurky. These three, a lot of RLCS experience between the three of them, actually. This is a legit team. This is a team that, is going to be fighting for top 8, and you can think on a good day can get top 4 as well. So if the Renegades aren't at 100%, this is sort of one of those sleeper teams that can sneak one up on you. Now, I believe we can take a quick look at the bracket now as well before we get into this game, just so you can sort of see who these top 8 are and who is going up against who. Ground Zero will be playing against Solicit. Canberra Havoc will be getting Forbidden Gaming. The Renegades take on Team Fenrir, and the Direwolves versus Mind Freak. Now, obviously, Renegades versus Fenrir is the one we're covering, and that has me excited, but I'm also looking at that Ground Zero Solicit match, and that's another one I feel like might have the potential to go either way.
Yeah, I'm interested by that. I think this is like a much more hotly contested first round than we might otherwise see. I mean, if a team does have a great performance, maybe we feel a bit more comfortable saying in the semifinals, this team will sweep them. Don't worry, it's all good. But realistically, I do think that there should be some close matches in this first round specifically. I still have, the likes of Renegades, the likes of Ground Zero coming through here. I think elsewise it would still be classified as an upset, even if the clash will be a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting for sure. I think the big name, though, that I'm sure you guys are noticing is not here. Cringe Society not making it to the top 8. So a little bit of a shocker right there. They did get knocked out on their way through. So Obviously, you know, that was a pretty big win. I believe it was Solicit, actually, who took them out. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to double-check that in a few moments. But, yeah, pretty crazy, you know, first quarterfinals. Some upsets already on the way here. And you just get that feeling in the air, you know, a new year, a couple new lineups. I mean, this is a new lineup for Team Fenrir. Anything can actually happen. Anything can go down. So I'm excited to get into it now. Just like last year's, the format hasn't changed. Quarters, semifinals, they're going to be best of fives. Our grand final is going to be best of seven. And I don't know if you saw what I saw, Fetch, but it looked like we already had the results spoiled for that grand final.
Oh?
Did you see it? The finals was 4-2 for the top-seeded team. We know.
I see. I didn't catch that one. I was actually looking back to the bracket, and I believe that I've forgotten it now. You threw me on this one. I'm joking. I was having a look to see who did knock out Cringe Society, because that was one I'd forgotten about. And I'm glad you brought it up, because I was pretty surprised actually at the fact that we weren't seeing them. Yeah, like I can't remember what it was now.
Forbidden, by the way, who
That's
beat
it.
them. Which is interesting, because that Forbidden lineup actually is so exciting to put together. I believe it is Scarth. I'm probably going to get this wrong, too, again, because I'm, like, you know, really missing. But I believe it's Scarth, Hawk, and Evample joining that team. So the mech on that team seems absolutely insane in my eyes. And it's a little bit almost of, like, a mech super team, one to, like, rival the Direwolves and almost surpass them in that regard. So to see them get that win to qualify, I'm going to be super excited to see the results of that matchup versus Canberra Havoc.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. I think it's like we seem to have a few of these sort of teams, like you said, to point out the Direwolves, who just bring these mechanics to the game and show us some very fantastic plays. And that's kind of something we like to see, right? I know you're a big fan of some of those mechanical outplays. Always love to point out a good old showcase of the freestyling and stuff like that. Of course, run a few of those little tournaments yourself, and I like it. Been really enjoyable. But I mean, they do still have to beat Canberra Havoc, right? Which is basically impossible, because no one can beat Canberra Havoc, right? You know, they're just too good. Like, I don't know if we'll get to really see them on stream. Hopefully we do. You know, but it's a bit of an ask. So it will kind of be their first big test, I think, in this tournament in terms of like staying with it and really conquering a big kind of dominant team. You mentioned on your previous broadcast, the one you were kind of covering some of the qualifiers, I guess we call them, that Canberra Havoc's looking pretty good right now. It's looking like a bit on a bit of a tear. Already taken out a couple of teams here, knocked them down to the lower bracket. But if they do manage to come through, I would really enjoy seeing Forbidden Gaming taking on either Ground Zero or Solicit.
Yeah, I mean, the top half of the bracket, I feel, is just... I want to say the top half of the bracket is so stacked, but realistically, like, this top 8 is pretty stacked, especially when you consider some of the performances that we saw from the teams. To be quite honest, I still feel like Ground Zero probably the heavy-handed favorites in this event right now. They're still going to be that team to watch out for, but Solicit's kind of one of those squads that they can get your upsets every now and then. Like, they're definitely no slouches. We hopefully should be getting into the match soon, by the way. Thank you for sticking with us thus far. I believe it's still just being set up right now, so we will be kicking off. On that note, though, I mean, I do see you guys in that Twitch chat, so I'm curious who you guys think is going to be winding up to taking this one. I think I want to hear it. I'm imagining a lot of you think either Ground Zero or Renegades. I know they're the two popular teams. I kind of fell for that trap as well. But if you think someone's going to be pulling off that upset, I'm kind of curious who you think that's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, that kind of, I guess that kind of tips your hand to this matchup as well. You were talking about in terms of Renegades being the favorites for it. I liked how you kind of sowed the seeds of what of the new kind of some of the changes to Fenrir and things like that. Some of the things they can bring to the table, bring to the field, I guess is a better way to put it. So I'd be interested to see if we do get any of those sort of upsets and things. But realistically, like, I do think you kind of got Renegades the favorites for the first one.
Yes, it does look as if we are about to get going underway. Lobby is looking set up, and I'm excited to get into this. The first game of 2021 here on Rocket League Oceania. And, of course, it's got to be the Renegades, like the kings of RLO of 2020, voted Team of the Year, taking on Team Fenrir and a squad that, honestly, I love this lineup. I think this is a top 8 lineup and potential top 6 lineup, actually, maybe even top 4 if they really start to gel. This is going to be a good test for them to sort of see how they match up against the best of the best. And, you know, as much as I love them, you know what final I want to see, actually, Fetch? You know what? I want to see the Fenrir Forbidden final.
Ooh.
Because if you follow my Twitter, you can see why.
Yep.
But that's what I want to see.
Yep.
Either way, though, we're about to kick this one off. This is game one of our quarterfinal matchup. Blue side is Renegades, orange side is Fenrir, and off this kickoff, it is Lurky with the first possession, pass down to Riv, shot, going to be saved, but it's off of a double commit.
It is a bit of a collision there coming in on the goals, which is kind of the perfectly mess up of a double commit, I guess you'd call it. But at the moment, the pressure is still on from the side of Fenrir. They're definitely not letting that big name get the better of them there. It does take a couple of players to get this clearance out here as Sprat's just going to kind of run into the corner. Seeking with a big setup, and Kami almost puts it through, but Sprat just flicks it out wide.
And I think this is going to be a very telling and a very fast-paced game as well. Riv likes to play fast, likes to play aggressive. Lurky at times can as well. Sprat, you know, he can sometimes surprise you with a little bit of his own sort of solo play and capabilities. Like, I'm not surprised at all that Fenrir is actually trying to step forward and take it to the Renegades. It's these players' play style when they're on other teams as well. So to see them together, yeah, this is exactly what I'm expecting. And that's why this is going to be such a fun series as well, because the Renegades are a team that also like to play fast, they like to play aggressive, they like to get into your face as much as possible, and sometimes a little bit too much. I'm not sure if that was a pitch attempt or a double commit. Either way, it does sort of leave the Renegades a little off balance, and now Lurky is going to look to punish, goes for the ground pinch, but can't connect.
Yeah, that's it. You can get away with not calling it a double commit so long as you don't get scored on, right? But hey, look, at the moment, I do like the fact, as you said, that both teams are aggressive in nature. Kami tries to get the drop-down shot as Sprat just sets it up, managed to get past Siki here as well. So Lurky has to kind of contest with three players, managed to get past them. It's one line of defense left, and that is Kami, but very good reposition on that shot. Sprat goes back around, and I'm loving this attack right now.
Oh my gosh.
This team, you know, Fenrir, they are just going in all boost blazing.
Yeah, I mean, they're just, like, even on that attack right now, we briefly saw it, and I kind of wish I could have screen capped that image, because you had two players cutting off before midfield pitch, trying to get a tight rotation, and they were able to pull that off and not get punished, and that is so unusual. Usually when you see a tight rotation, it's only one car there, not both of them trying to pull it off. I believe it was at the time Riv and Lurky who were trying to do that, with like Riv really tight and Lurky about like 2/3 up the field. Either way, though, Renegades now have a chance to strike. CJ won't be able to get there in time, but Siki playing third man, unable to find it through as well. So fascinating, though, to see Fenrir and how just aggressive they are trying to attack the ball. This actually could be where they get punished. Kami can't get it back to Sticky, however, Lurky with the save.
Yeah, just take a couple of them to get up there, so they don't have the numbers in the goal just at the moment. CJ not able to get that secondary touch. That would have been absolutely huge, but Kami just putting the ball back on. And this is what you're talking about. Fenrir not afraid to play aggressive as well. They've kind of set up their line right at the moment. They've set up their control. Siki tries to flick it over the top of Riv. Doesn't quite work out to the best of, to the success they might have liked, I suppose, but not going to give up the attack just yet. As Renegades, they've really entrenched themselves into this attacking line.
Yeah, and it's really surprising, actually. We haven't seen either of these defenses break just yet because of the pace that each of them are being attacked right now. Normally, by this stage of the game, something would have cracked. You would have found that opening. So, as impressive and as like exciting to see as these, you know, tight rotations, these fast plays have been, credit to the Renegades defense being able to withstand this punishment. Now, they haven't really turned it into as many counterattacks, perhaps, as you would be accustomed to seeing with this lineup, but that was a very tough, you know, first 3.5 minutes right now. And the fact that they've been able to keep it 0-0, it's just a testament of how tough this team is to beat.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a cheesy line, but it's the veterancy of the team and the players and the skill and, you know, all those things we love to say. CJ has a bit of an opportunity to set something up here. Pass it down to Siki, almost gets it past, but Kami's got another attempt. Lurky just playing the perfect obstacle in the way of that attack right at the moment. And now it's the Renegades, that defensive power they managed to bring forth in that first, you know, couple of minutes. Possibly going to be rewarded if they can find something here, but they have to kind of get the dispossession and not let their opponent's Fenrir get a good clear out here.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see, Kami going to try to find that setup, looking to pass it back to CJ, who was already on the retreat. Also, CJ on a Fennec, by the way. That's the new look for him, I feel like. You see either seeing him on the Dominus or the Octane. Either way, though, Kami's going to try to put a shot onto him. He caught by Sprat in the corner. We'll follow it through, but yet still unable to break that Renegades attack, although missed by CJ. Actually opened the door for Lurky. 30 seconds to go. Renegades back on defense. Riv puts a shot on target. Siki forced to make the save, but Sprat keeps the tight rotation there, and it looks at the moment, as soon as the Renegades get their own offense going, the shot nearly gets through Lurky. Can't get it past Siki.
Jeez, that was close. And that's the thing. It's not like, I think the thing from Fenrir, we're talking a little bit about the Renegades, bit of pressure on the 1v1. CJ just gets knocked up into the air as Siki kind of clears it out. But something I was talking about with the Renegades is the fact that, like, yeah, okay, they had that really great, fantastic defensive pressure, but it's just being tested. It's still being tested, by Team Fenrir. Good clearance out wide, and unless Renegades can find something very special here, that's going to be OT for our first game.
First game's got to be a 0-0 overtime. My favorite kind of game to start off 2021. That's how you know it's going to be an omen for a good year. I'm still optimistic about this one. It's Sticky. Goes for the reset, isn't able to really connect. That's going to make that save. Something I am noticing, though, much more so in the second half of that game, we've seen the Renegades actually start to establish their patented sort of attack offense. That team that's so hard to get past the middle of the field, although a chance right here, Lurky actually cheats underneath CJ, but it's a triple commit on the attack. Lurky with that demo may have just hit the overtime goal. Sticky still with the chance. Puts it into the corner. CJ open net. That's going to go in. And it's the Renegades taking game number 1.
And they played it in the 2v1, the 2v3 as well. The demolition allowed the defensive setup from Fenrir, but they didn't care. CJ just gets the ball in on a very tight angle off the playoff seeking. Not a tight angle, but a tight defensive execution, offensive execution, I guess. But, managed to get it past with the pass up, doing it 2v3 off the break. Really shows that this team has a lot of power behind them, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can sort of see it. And I mean, from that moment when Fenrir committed the third person on the attack and they didn't get that 50 to go their way, the game kind of felt over right then and there in that goal situation, because you can't gift the Renegades that much field, that much space to work with. They'll make it happen. And credit where credit is due. Siki did a great job on that setup, and CJ, I know when Yummy and I get together, we sometimes meme he'll miss those open nets, but he's not even missing that one. That was so good for the Renegades. Exactly what they wanted to get to start off this opening game. It's a tight overtime win, but from the 2.5-minute mark forward, they really did control the tempo of the game. They controlled their attack. They started to field themselves. And I know I said before coming into this game as well, real quick, that Siki was out. There was a sub running in. Zayd was coming in. Well, Siki is back. Maybe he needed that 2.5 minutes to warm up, but now he's warm and the team is looking strong.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, not even a small way either. They're looking fantastic if they made it through this far with, admittedly, some slightly rocky situations, but if they're now back on full strength, that's fantastic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, this is a team that historically has taken a little while to warm up. When they lose games, it's usually in the first 3, and then they always finish strong. So the fact that we just saw them really win that first game, it's usually a bad omen for teams that they will come up against. That said, you have to go back, and I mean, it's something we did each point out. Fenrir's aggressive play style, it was effective for the first 2.5 minutes. I mean, it felt like they were doing everything right except for actually scoring that goal.
Yeah. And they held on as well in defense. I know that it was the big effort was kind of that Renegades hold against the incredible aggression coming out for that, like you say, that first 2.5 minutes, the first half of the game. But I feel like we got to give some credit to Fenrir for being able to hold off the Renegades attack up until the overtime, which you kind of identified that was, was kind of that snowball from the missed 50-50, which I'd like to go back and rewatch that one because I think I missed that particular play. Yeah. But I think you're spot on with that because you could see the moment where the momentum shifted. But yeah, I would like to give a bit of credit to the Team Fenrir defense as well. A lot of their plays were good, but the problem is, like you said, if Renegades start warming up, if they start building momentum and kind of snowballing that momentum, I guess, it's going to be a very, very different puzzle to solve for Fenrir. They can't just rely on this big offense, and then there were some defensive slip-ups as well, but they've still got to find something else because they're getting beaten at that point when Renegades, who, to be fair as well, they've been playing with a substitute so far, so they've got to adjust to having a newer player in. You saw them getting some of those collisions. It's interesting, right? I
mean, they had the substitute, but the substitute's gone. They're back to their main roster. Yeah. That's the big
That's what
thing.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
They've swapped from one set of 3 to a different set of 3.
Exactly.
So they've got to take that at least a second to adjust, right?
Yeah, you would think. But if any team's going to adjust quickly, it's going to be the roster that stuck together, the only roster that stuck together from start to finish in 2020. It was the Renegades, so they're going to stick with it. And the fact that we still see this lineup in 2021, it is exciting. I mean, it makes me happy that they've stuck together like that. I don't know. Little things sometimes get me excited, get me warmed up and ready to go. And we will be getting to game number 2 shortly. We're just kind of make sure that everything in the stream does look clean when we get into it. But with a little time before we get into this next game, I dropped a bold prediction earlier and I'm going to stand by it, even though he's not playing in this game. I think this is going to be a breakout year for Fever. But I have to ask, Fetch, what players in particular, it doesn't have to necessarily be in this game, but are you looking for to sort of step up and stand out this year and have a good 2021?
I don't know. This is the problem. Like I have this problem, right, with Rocket League, where whenever I see a player on camera, I'm like, on camera, in game, I'm always like, damn, I forgot about them the rest of the time. I love this player. They're gonna just dominate the rest of the field. And then like 2 games later, I'm like, doing the same thing for a completely different player, and I'm like, I forgot about them, didn't I? So I'm way too finicky to actually feel comfortable making those kind of statements. Because like I remember like when there was like discussion about who was going to be the player of 2020 and like who was the like rising star, rookies, all this sort of thing, MVP. It was a nightmare because I had a list of players who I loved like half of them, and I'm like, how do I do this? Like, there's too many players in one, like too many players I like in one spot. I don't know. Outside of that, I feel like I'm going to give generic answers and stuff. Stuff like, obviously, my like knowledge in Rocket League is coming up through the university scene, so it's like a lot of the university players are going to be the ones who have my backing. But
just say Ben then. Just drop Caveman Ben and be done with it. Or
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a bit of an easy one though. I was thinking, I was actually thinking someone like Riv. Actually, I quite like. I've been a big fan, but I don't know, Riv's done some good stuff around the place. But it sounds like we're about back in game. Already. And again, I don't want to say that because Riv's on screen.
No, you said it. I'm quoting you. I'm holding you to it.
No, this is good. This is good. I'm glad you're doing that.
This is where Riv's 2021 campaign starts off right now when he picks up Team Fenrir, puts it on his back, and single-handedly beats the Renegades, right? Maybe not the start he wanted to. He's going to let Sticky get that first goal just to make it more dramatic when Riv goes back and carries the team through. That was a disaster for Fenrir.
That was a big disaster. They were like... Yeah, they were trying to figure out who their MVP was of 2021 preemptively, and they got a bit caught off. I reckon that's got to be it. But yeah, like this is the thing. It's a dramatic comeback. Just wait for it. Lurky's setting it up. Riv's gonna pass. Riv's gonna take the pass. All right, never mind. Riv's gonna take the inception. You know what? Let's just commentate the game normally. I reckon that might be the answer.
Last thing I want to point out though, real quick about Riv. I know it wasn't an official RLO award like nominee area, but the best player related chant 100% had to have been Riv. That was my favorite. I don't know why, but I absolutely loved it. Either way, though, 1-0 lead right now for the Renegades after that quick kickoff goal. Exact same scoreline as the last game, but instead of taking, over 5 minutes to find it, they find it in those opening seconds, and now we get to watch the Renegades with the lead.
Yeah, they're going to feel so, like, this is such a dangerous zone for the Renegades to be in because they get to open up this offensive pressure. They get to really lock down the attacking half of the field and not feel as stressed by that one. Surely that's not going to go in almost off the double there. Cammy managed to find a flick back forward, but they might have actually left themselves a bit of an opening here as the ball's going forward. Sprat doesn't get the connection there. That was a guaranteed goal, surely. Here is Riv. Here is the superstar of this series, surely. Isn't able to make any more of that happen. A bit of scrappy midfield play there, and maybe not a higher bar of execution as we might have liked.
Maybe not yet, but I mean, when you have a little bit of lead, you still have that little bit of a leeway. CJ actually beats out 2 defenders. This looks so good for Kami. We'll get that waterfall set up. Won't be able to find the shot. So it was a nice attempt, but unable to follow through just yet. CJ another attempt, but this time off the backboard as well. And finally, it looks like Lurky may have broken this Renegades attack. That was a solid minute and a half defensive effort. And they don't let up that goal, but it doesn't look like they get that counterattack goal either.
I was really impressed with Lurky here. As much as many jokes we made, Lurky actually showing up really well there, being in the way of a fair few of those defensive plays, putting up offensive plays pressure, even when they weren't able to finally break that break that attack just yet. Seems like they have an opportunity here, and once again, it's Lurky playing that player, lurking further up. I didn't want to say it, but it's there. Why not? And Sprat now trying to set something up. 2 defenders, but neither gets it! Oh my god, Sprat!
I saw that one coming, uncontested, straight down the middle. It was going to be a missile of a shot, and he had the cadence to put that wherever he wanted. He took it up high, even had a defender touched it from the positions where they were. That ball was going in. Absolute missile from Sprat, and now Riv off the kickoff. Had a chance for the double, but can't quite finish it off.
That's it. A good attempt up from Lurky as well. This just kind of like, it feels like it's just added to that fire underneath the side of Fenrir right there. Didn't see CJ for a second. I was a little bit worried about that one. Coming going to go for a clear. But it really feels like it's absolutely fueled them just going in aggressive for these plays. Riv gets demoed, so it's going to be up to Lurky to try and clear this one out. It's going to take a 1v1 against CJ. But CJ, that's not the direction you want to go just yet. Doesn't have any players to pass to. So the shot's up on Riv. Just going to get the drop down on it. Actually, maybe carries it across. Double commit, but it does get out of the goal line, at least for now.
Yeah, but it's going to be a brief period of reprieve, at least until CJ finds the pass to Kami, who tries to jump it down back to CJ, but with no corner boost available, it kind of leads to an awkward attack, but awkward defense as well, as Riv is sort of backflipping around. I think both teams kind of caught off guard by the sudden slower pace in that setup. It does wind up a bit more beneficial for Fenrir, as they are now once again on that attacking half, and Lurky's going to find the goal after that pass across the middle. These two teams are just so similar, it feels like.
Yeah, but that's so cool, right? You love to see a clash of styles, your slower teams versus your aggressive teams. But when it's all just, let's put our resources into winning the game now, just score, that's really exciting. I mean, it can get a bit silly at times, but with the control these teams are displaying, there's been some very good Rocket League here, and it's been very enjoyable.
This is peak Oceanic Rocket League for 2018 to 2019, half of 2020. This is the type of style that sort of defined our region, and it's cool to see it back in full force of just this hyper-aggressive style. Also, I want to quickly bring attention to that last goal real quick. Riv's setup, I'm pretty sure he got a triple touch off the wall in order to pass it back to Lurky. That was actually insane. So definitely good to see Fenrir firing on all cylinders, although defensively they might not look as clean and see that nice little bump to the butt of Sprat, but Sticky will get the save.
The best defense is a 20-goal lead. Just put it out there. I think that's what Fenrir is trying to even if they're not nearly near that just yet, that's what they've got in their eyes. Sprat just finds another one, bounce it over the defender, looks very calm in doing it. 1 minute left, 2 goals to find, and with the amount of offensive pressure right now which is being exerted from Fenrir, it doesn't feel like Renegades are going to have any kind of answer to it. Yeah,
Renegades definitely on the back foot in this game number 2, and this could be pretty critical moving forward, considering, the momentum that they had. Because realistically, they got, essentially 2 kickoff goals in a row. That's been their 2 goals. I know the one in the overtime wasn't quite a kickoff goal, but it was under a minute. I don't know. I'll count it. Then you had that opening kickoff goal realistically in the second game. But for these long extended plays, they actually haven't been as consistent as Fenrir. As Riv's going for the dribble, gets the bump! Get in there! Not quite. Sticky will still find the save.
But they're still on the offense, right? They're still on the attack. They're okay, we could sit back, we could play defense, we could play possession, we could do whatever we want, but no, goals. Goals are all we care about. 20 seconds left. Pretty sure they've clinched this game too. We're going to be going to a 1-1 game score at the moment, but they're still on the attack. They still want more goals. They got to pad those stats. 10 seconds left. They might just find another one, especially with that attempt from Riv just throwing himself at the wall. But I think that might be it for this game. Finally, eventually.
Yeah, it is going to be a Game 2 victory going over to Fenrir, and I mean, this has just been a fun series to watch. I'm going to describe what we've seen so far. I think, I normally I hate using fun as a display word because everything's fun, but I don't know, just seeing the fast pace of these teams, we're seeing, moments of mechanical skill, and Riv been able to pull off that dribble into the bump to score that. That would have been the goal of the game thus far. Instead, I still think it kind of goes to Riv with that setup that he had before. Renegades, their speed is there, their aggression is there, and we've seen them establish a couple, long-standing attacks where they're able to pelt that goal for a minute, 2 minutes at a time. But Fenrir has just been a bit more consistent on defense, and as a result, they're up 3-1. They take game number 2, and going into game 3, this one actually does feel like it can go either way.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. I really am interested to see how they go. I mean, it's things like, maybe Renegades need to bring back that defensive kind of structure they had in the first half of that first game when maybe they were feeling a little bit less confident. They were kind of coming into it with a new game and trying to treat the series as a new series rather than being like, hey guys, we got a lead. But, there's a lot of things you can talk about in terms of improving. I just want to see more fast-paced, action, aggressive Rocket League, because Renegades had barely any forward percentage after the first, 2 minutes of that game, right? They had very little in there.
It felt like it was the Fenrir show, and I guess upsets always kind of or the prospect of upsets do kind of excite you at times, but you've got to remember at the end of the day, this is still the Renegades, this is still that same lineup that dominated 2020, and yeah, you got one over them, that's great. The question is, can you do it 2 more times? And I'm going to want to see that consistency from Fenrir. Can they keep this forward momentum moving? Or will the Renegades be able to take it back? Because at any given moment, the Renegades can get 1, 2, 3 goals on you. And then all of a sudden, you just feel so defeated. You are out. You can never sleep on the Renegades, despite how Game 2 may have looked. So, we are going to kick off game number 3 right now. I'm still waiting for Sticky, I feel like, to have his big pop-off goal, his big superstar play. Keep your eyes on this one. I think it's time for Sticky to shine.
All right, I'd believe it. I mean, we saw in those defensive stats, Riff with a demolish from above. Actually, a flick over the top, Sticky, you're going to have to try and get to that one. Actually, it's Kami who's just hovering above the goals to be able to keep that one out. But Sticky's defensive stats looked great last game. Like, I mean, we got a chance to look at those in the break, and they were fantastic. I think 4 saves in there, as well as like a few shots as well. But yeah, definitely Sticky playing well. Just has to find those openings on the goal, pulling the defense around quite nicely at the moment, but they haven't managed to find that killer shot.
Yeah, they haven't been able to find it just yet, and now it looks like Fenrir will have a turn on the attack after surviving about 30 seconds of Renegades fun. And oh, Sticky and CJ bumping into each other. Sticky does have the boost to recover, but Riv is already there. Pass up to Sprat, puts it in front of the box. Riv gets the angle and takes it right over the top, and that's going to be a 1-0 lead for Fenrir.
You could like feel what was happening. You can like almost feel the sort of indecision there when the two cars were next to each other. It was that classic moment of like, do you want to go? Do I want to go? And it took them so long to sort that out that they just couldn't recover the defense. It's so unfortunate. But if last game was anything to go off, that first opening goal off like a bit of miscommunication is nothing to decide it, but a double commit might be. Riv just finds the bouncer off the corner. 2 defenders go up, neither find the touch. And so Lurky just puts the ball, like a really good touch. Lurky just finds the drop. River's there to pick it up off the sidebar. That's a much more definitive goal.
That's an interesting one to me, because I wonder if Kami recognized he wasn't going to make it to the ball in time and actually called CJ in. Like, yeah, that was a double commit. Yeah, it looks bad. But it did look to me like initially CJ was actually holding back a bit, and then either he saw Kami wasn't going to make it or Kami called him off, and that's when he decided to press forward. So you get sort of a weird look at that defensive effort. Either way, though, Riv in the right place at the right time turns it into a goal, and that was a fantastic positioning and picking the right moment. I think that's going to be something that's going to be critical for Fenrir moving forward. Are they going to be able to consistently pick those correct moments? Against the Renegades right now, they're doing that, and this is leaving me super impressed. Again, this is sort of a newer lineup together. I'm going to be excited to see where this team goes. Sprat and Riv do have a history of playing with each other, and we can see some of that synergy in some instances. Lurky now has a chance, but does get bumped off the ball by CJ. Riv will go defensively. Yeah, back to my previous point, though, 100%, can Fenrir keep this level of consistency? Because if they can, this team is a real threat.
Oh, absolutely. Like, so much so. And I think that's kind of the thing, right? Like, it's easy when you play with a new player to be like, hey, yeah, we're buddies, and it's cool, right? Like, we're playing together, we're having a good time, we're doing well, we're winning games. But, you know, the grind of practice can wear down anyone. So I do want to see how they advance, how they go, if they can keep this kind of deal up. It looks like they've given way more chances for Renegades. That was a big whiff, but it's okay, because Kami is there to put it through.
Yeah, good positioning and good placement by Kami right there to put it through. I thought CJ had this one. I think everyone thought CJ had that one, but that's why Kami is there. Able to just be the rock of the team, slam that one through. 2-1 now, the lead. No longer that 2-goal cushion, and this is what I mean about the Renegades. If Sticky makes contact there, that could have been a goal. Kami instead's going to try to flick it, but CJ instead will take it to the corner.
I mean, that's not a terrible position to be in, especially if you can get across like that. But you're right, a couple of unfortunate mistakes there. Sprat getting it past the defenders, but not in the maybe ideal situation for the team to pick that one up, as it's going to be CJ who clears it out from up high. But yeah, like Renegades, definitely looking a lot better here. They've had some really clever positional plays and some really tricky movement around the fielders. Sprat going for another one, but again, it's just going to fall straight into the hands of the Renegades. Oh, maybe.
Oh, that was Riv coming in like a hate-seeking missile. Unfortunately, doesn't really make contact with the ball. Does take out Kami. Waterfall set up, and CJ is underneath, able to clear it out to the corner. Riv there waiting, and every time it looks like the Renegades are going to find that clear way through. Usually there's a defender there. Of course, as soon as I see it, Sticky does find that gap along the corridor, gets it to that back wall, and now the Renegades perhaps can have a chance to establish their own attacking pressure.
Yeah, that's it. And they've had some good moments in there, but again, not found a really seriously good setup and not really been able to find, well, that was a decent gentle touch there, but again, it's that same kind of point you were talking about with the defenders in the midfield. This situation is much closer to the goal, and you have much less room for error. But to be fair, the Fenrir are still managing it.
Yeah, we do see Siki right now in the corner getting challenged by Lurky, forced to go up to the ball, but Sprat's already there. If you are at all hesitant on defense against this Fenrir team, guess what? There's going to be an orange or red car already in your face. It's a very high-risk play because you find breakaways, you get goals. Siki proving that point, tying the series up.
That's it. You talked about in the last game about the fact they have such a similar style. The execution of defense is so tight, and neither of these teams being hyper defensively minded makes it for a very interesting kind of attacking position, because if you don't execute perfectly on those attacks, there is a possible goal in the punish already there, and Renegade's really starting to feel a lot better. I think there was 2 goals back-to-back in this situation, even though there was a bit of a gap between them, if I'm not much mistaken. But that is only equalizing the game so far, right? Riv passed it back to Lurky, who wasn't quite in the position for that one, so CJ is going to pick it up in a disruption on the attack here. Less characteristic from what we've seen from Fenrir, but I mean, they will still have to try and make a defense against Renegades once again.
You see a shot from Kami. It's going to be a little bit high. Lurky able to read the play for now. This goes back to the point I was making between games 2 and 3, though. Like, through most of this third game, it's been like Fenrir absolutely dominant. 2-0 lead, feeling good, feeling themselves about to go to match point against the Renegades, but you blink, you miss it. All of a sudden, the Renegades are right back in this one. They can take, they grab their own victories from the grasp of your own. Like, it's so tough to realistically put this team down, and with 12 seconds left, we could be getting another overtime.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, 100% of the overtime so far have gone to Renegades. Ha ha ha. But that's the thing. Like, to actually kind of give that point, I guess, some merit, as Siki and Lurky kind of fight over this one. And it still hasn't been grounded yet. I mean, it's Renegades, right? You could see something, but no, not going to happen overtime. But to give that point, I think, a bit more actual merit, you do expect the more veteran team, the more experienced lineup, the lineup of players who are more experienced in playing together, to execute way better in this golden point sort of situation.
You would certainly hope so, especially with the team like the Renegades who have that experience. Although, this could be their moment right here. Kami missed the ball. Is able to try and throw it back, but Lurky running back end defense actually gets in CJ's way. Steps up, Sprat the lob was a little bit too high. Oh, I can't tell if that was, like, major big brain play or just pure sloppiness. Siki with the 50, but he puts it a little too high.
I disconnected for like a second there and missed it, and I'm so sad because this is such a weird game state just to come back into a CJ gets a bit of a break, pulls it down the field. It's Lurky and CJ trying to fight over this one. Neither of them gets it, and it's actually Siki who does manage to find it. Sprat gets a bit of a clearance out. CJ waiting on the rotate, has some time to play with, but has to make sure to make the most of it. Does get a safe clearance out there, but this is a very tense overtime as we're about to bridge the 1 minute mark.
Exactly. I mean, the fair bit on the line. You win this, you go to match point, and you'll have 2 games to try and put your opponents away. Fenrir definitely making a bit of a statement in this series. They are here to play aggressive. They are here to challenge you, and Sprat may have found that gap. Renegades were so far forward, yet he doesn't put it accurate enough. Defense now able to rotate back, but can they break those offensive rotations? Sprat saying, nope, I'm going to get the touch. Lurky as well, so tight, gets the round into the box, but Riv pushes too far forward. That's how they got punished last time, I should say, but Siki doesn't find that quick goal.
Yeah, and every time you think one team has a slight advantage, it doesn't quite get executed on. Admittedly, Renegades, I think, have had the cleaner opportunities and potentially some of the slightly bigger misplays. The ball into the far corner, Sprat finds it. You called it. That's it. That is the advantage. Now, going to Fenrir, you asked if they could find 2 more games. Well, that's 1. That's halfway to the, this absurd possible conclusion where Fenrir knock out Renegades in not the finals, not even the semifinals, but the quarters.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of crazy. And I mean, yeah, I did call that one just because you can tell with the way how Fenrir is playing right now. They really realistically had that momentum, and I do slightly disagree with you. I think the Renegades on their attempts had been cleaner, but Fenrir had been forcing more opportunities throughout that game. I mean, when you look at the shot count right now, they're actually dead even. It kind of shows how real back and forth that was. But more towards the end, it felt like Fenrir were starting to feel themselves, and yeah, Riv put that ball in the only spot where Siki could not have made that save. It was that upper left-hand corner. If that shot goes anywhere else, I guarantee you Siki gets that save. But Riv absolutely drills that ball in the perfect spot. He had the time and the space to do it. Team Fenrir right now, I mean, they are 1 game away from pulling off a major upset in our first game of 2021.
Oh, yes. It would be so good to see as well. I mean, giving the Renegades something to fight for as well. If they do lose this, right? If we end up in that wild situation where the Renegades do drop this series, they are going to be so intense in the next few weeks of play. It will be like a whole new unleashed beast.
You do not want to go up against the Renegades in RLCSX. You will want to avoid this team in RLCSX if they wind up dropping this series. I can almost guarantee you that. But, I mean, we saw the stats right there before. I think the most interesting stat to me was that shot differential. It's so rare to see the Renegades behind on shots, but Fenrir had an extra 6 shots on them. Now they have an extra game on them as well. So going into our game number 4, Fenrir can somehow find that way to take this one. They get the upset, and they advance.
Yeah, geez. That's big, right? But you said it before. Renegades back against the wall. Still a very, very scary team. You know, they never accept defeat, and they have the execution as well to make sure that they can make these big comebacks. And that's the thing. It's still going to be an upset, even if, you know, right now looking at this game state, I don't think that it's going to be. I don't feel confident that Fenrir are going to win it. I mean, they're good enough to. But there's always that Renegade factor, right?
So
who knows?
Yeah, exactly. But there was something on that defensive effort, actually, that makes me think they might do it, yet there's still the Kami factor. And the Kami factor right now is a little bit more than that defensive factor. CJ gets the setup before getting yeeted to oblivion. Kami puts it through over the top, and that's a 1-0 Renegades lead.
That's it. And yeah, right? Like, Renegades go up early. I mean... To be fair, I don't know what we make of that at this point, given the fact that we have been seeing big scores coming out elsewise as the games progress. And a point to kind of cover your to kind of add to your previous point about the fact that Renegades are behind on shots. That was that difference was won over the first game, I think, pretty well. First 2 games pretty well, like definitively. And that's the thing. Renegades aren't at a negative shot differential in that last game. They're actually bringing it out much better. And that's the thing, if they are waking up, if the sleeping giants are starting to stir, this is where it happens.
Yeah, this is where it has to happen. I mean, if they don't wake up now, they're going to have to wait till next week, at least in terms of the RLO Masters. So it's time to really put down a definitive victory, I would have to feel. And they had the start they were looking for with that 1-0 lead. But to quickly go back to a point I was trying to make before, the reason why I am actually really impressed with this Fenrir team, it came down on defense. A situation where it almost looked like a double commit, where the ball was going straight towards Lurky, I believe. And he got a touch, but he turned it into a pass, and he didn't follow up because he knew that Rib was wrapping around behind him and would be able to chase it through the corner. This allowed him to conserve and save his boost while staying in the box. And this is kind of like deeper level communication that you normally see with teams who understand each other at that deeper level. And it came from Lurky. It wasn't Riv and Sprat at that level of communication. It was the newer member to this pairing. And that has me excited. Speaking of which, Lurky and Riv, again, they get the pass, they get the backboard, and they get the goal.
That is it. It comes off all 3 players. They just show, like, that could easily be a Saturday morning cartoon intro where it's just like, you've got Sprat, you've got Riv, and you've got Lurky, like, as the intro, because it just showed all of them. They got their moment to kind of put the ball up and just slot it in the goal. Felt so good for them. And, I mean, it's still only even, right? It's still 1-1, and clearly the Renegades happy to jump up and get aggressive once again, as is very much their comfort zone, but they have to be careful because moments like this could get really scary as Seiki just makes save on the backside, but God, Lurky's look so good.
Yeah, I mean, you know, talk about using your opponents against themselves right there, just getting that touch off. I believe it was Kami, almost able to drive it through. 2 minutes left, tie game. Again, Fenrir, they get the goal. They get the upset. Siki will be able to clear it out of the box, but here comes Sprat. Gets enough on it. Rip's going to try for that tight rotation, but Sprat from above actually comes from out of nowhere right there and continues to slow the attack. This will allow Fenrir to get back on defense. Open field. Oh, if Riv is able to put that straight, maybe he scores. Instead, he went for the pass to Lurky, and it gets intercepted, and eventually the ball does wind up in the corner.
Yeah, this team looks like they're playing fantastically off each other, but they still have to hold back against one of the most terrifying things in Oceanic Rocket League. That is a Renegades offense. It is terrible. It's really scary to come up against. And they've managed to break it at the moment. Once again, it's Lurky doing a great job kind of being this rotational player, being able to pivot a lot of these plays off. Tries to slow play it a little bit. Ball stopped in front of the goals, which is a dangerous position if you're a Renegades fan. But it's okay for now. CJ goes the 1v1. Riv managed to win out on that one. Passed off to Sprat. Yeah, that did look good, but not quite over the line yet.
1 minute to go. Still a tie game. Lurky with the shot. Kami has that first save, but does he have Sprat's angle? The answer is no. And with under a minute to play, Fenrir takes a big 1-goal lead.
Okay, do we want to take a quick breath and talk about the results in our other game? Because I think we...
Oh, we wait.
We wait? All right, let's do it. 1 minute left. Renegades have to try and find a goal in this next 58 seconds. If they don't do it, they have lost the series. They are out. They don't even get to see semis, and that would be a huge upset, but CJ says that's not going to happen. We're going to take it to an overtime at least right now.
And it's been the biggest weakness for Fenrir has been these kickoffs. The Renegades have constantly been able to create opportunities within the first 10, 15 seconds of every single point thus far. And that's a little bit of a heartbreaker for Fenrir because you got your 1-goal lead. You have to hold on for a minute and it's all yours. And then 4 seconds later, it's fine.
Yes.
So not ideal, but they're still very much in this one. I mean, if you're able to get 2 goals, I mean, you can't get a third, right? That's what they've got to be thinking. But if the Renegades win this game and then you think, oh no, we got to do it all over again. We got to find those opportunities again. And it's rare that you're in these situations against a team like the Renegades. You have to capitalize on them. You don't want it to go to that game 5. That's a big demo. But no, CJ actually misses it. Lurky has a chance, but does get bumped off the ball by CJ.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, you also don't want to get too aggressive, right? You don't want to just like be like, oh, we're just going to throw everything we've got at it. It's going to be fine. Sprat gets a bit of a knock out of the way onto one of those players, but Riv understands they're not going to be able to get that. One more shot left. They have one attempt at this goal. They're playing it slowly, but they're playing it carefully. That was dangerous, but it comes off the crossbar. Please tell me this counterattack isn't going to go in. Okay, we're fine. That's an overtime. That is a guaranteed overtime.
3 out of 4 games have now gone to overtime between Fenrir and Renegades. That is absolutely mind-blowing, and this kickoff is so good for Riv. Does go a little too far in front of the ball, though, and cannot recover. Kami able to steal it away. It almost ended using the Renegades' own kickoffs against him. Lurky, though, with another lob towards the net. Tsiki's going to have to slow it down. Anyone from underneath. Lurky's there off the backboard. CJ forced to take it towards the corridor. Sprat in that third man makes the read off the backboard. Here comes Lurky. No! It's CJ from underneath getting the clear.
CJ, that was a huge play from CJ, having the perfect understanding of how that play is going to go. It goes over to Tsiki, but at the moment it is a 2v3 with that one player getting demolished. CJ goes up. Ooh, that was...
Oh, that was spooky. That was spooky. Actually, this is still spooky. A couple misses right there. The pace does get slowed down. Eventually, Kami gets that touch, but Sprat's there waiting. Oh, you would have hated to see it lose on a pinch right there off of Kami's car.
Oh, yeah. That's awful, right?
Oh, wow. That almost went in as well. Lurky, some very interesting touches. A few interesting touches coming from Fenrir so far in this overtime. A minute in, our last overtime nearly went 2 minutes as well, so we could be seeing another longer one right now. Kami looking for the bumps, looking for the demo. Sprat able to hide behind the post as Lurky maintains control of the ball. We'll be able to chase it up, pass down to the middle. Sprat's from underneath. Tsiki actually swings and misses, and that causes Sprat to miss. Riv as a third member pushes so far forward. Look how open this net is. Kami will throw it to Tsiki, who will take the shot, and the Renegades will take us to game number 5.
There we go. Renegades, they face down their opponent's series point and hold on for just a little bit longer. It takes 1 minute 24 seconds for them to do it, but they managed it at the end. They looked pretty poised during that situation, I will say. There were some big mistakes in the defense there, but as that sort of timer went on, I felt like they were starting to get a bit more poised into that as Fenrir was starting to get more and more desperate, trying more and more weird movements, I was going to call them, but I think unusual touches was the way you referred to them, probably a better way to put it. But yeah, now you're going to face that exact factor you talked about. Like, Fenrir are like, oh, we've got to make those openings. And I don't feel too bad about that, right? I don't feel too bad because Fenrir have done it game after game after game. But it is like you had the match point, right? You had the series point, sorry. You just couldn't capitalize on it. That's got to hurt mental.
Yeah, it is going to. But something I find interesting about that overtime in particular was it ended in a very similar fashion to the first game overtime, where we saw the Renegades kind of take advantage of a situation where Fenrir pushes 3 players forward, and then they just have the entire field to work with, and they turn it into a goal. That's happened twice now to Fenrir in overtimes, and I know this team wants to come in, be aggressive, just attack. It's come back to bite them twice now, but at that same token, you can also argue that it's put them in this position to be with. So sort of like live by the sword, die by the sword situation, and this series, it's such a nail-biter right now. Can you imagine what would happen if Fenrir takes out the Renegades? Because guess what? Solicit beat Ground Zero, and that would be the 2 favorites gone.
Yeah, that would be huge right now. I mean, maybe I'm sure the players don't know the results, but you know, you wouldn't be focusing on that right now if you are Renegades. You've got to win this series. But like, if that's gonna motivate you, right? Like, one of the legends has to make it through. Come on, surely one of them.
I think the other approach. I think this is 2021. Let's start things off with a new blood. Let's get a new team out there. Cringe Society out in groups, Renegades and Ground Zero out in quarterfinals. That would be such a shakeup. Yet it's RLO and it's the Renegades and it's Kami. So that's going to be a 1-0 lead for RNG.
Yeah, that's it at the moment. But a 1-0 lead. They've been in this situation, I think, like at least 3 of the 5 games so far, if not all of them. And like, that just feels like how it kind of goes. I mean, admittedly, it took them a bit over a minute to find that one, so it's a bit longer than we've seen elsewise. But I mean, Riv's just answering it, just straight away, right? Just carries it through.
That's an interesting goal, actually, because this is the first time I feel like Fenrir has been able to find a goal in like the first 15 seconds off of the kickoff. Like, this is their first proper kickoff goal. They've had a couple near attempts, actually. Riv in particular has been the one with a couple near attempts before that one. Yet, Fenrir do get that tie game once again. This is game 5. We are tied, and it can go either way. Lurky off the kickoff had a chance as well. Gets the second touch. It's off the post, and it does eventually slip in. 2-1 lead for Fenrir.
I like this little jink there from Lurky. Just goes, like, Jinx left twice. Oh, Jinx left. But, like, Jukes left twice on that play, and the defenders were kind of like, oh no, we're in trouble here. But I don't think anyone expected that to be the shot which goes in, right?
Yeah, I thought it was about to bounce out for a brief moment, but it did somehow sneak its way back in there. And Renegades just gave up 2 kickoff goals. How did they respond? Well, they nearly get one right back. Riv this time, though, back for that save. That's got to be a little bit frustrating for the Renegades. And now Fenrir, once again, in a position where they have a lead in a match point. A little longer than a minute to hold on, but the question is, will they be able to do it?
Yeah, that's it. I like the strategy of just getting rid of Lurky early on into the game. They are maybe possibly going to concede this attack right here as Lurky, again, coming back in this game with a bit of a vengeance here, is able to pick up this play once again. It's just all over the ball right at the moment. It's very impressive as Riv tries to pass it off to to Sprat, but is intercepted by CJ. And once again, if Renegades get this attack back set up, we know how dangerous they can be. They're holding on to it for now, but they don't have the aggressive positioning they might have liked.
Perhaps not. Dicky will have control of the ball, though, in the corner, and a bit of boost, a bit of space to do with it as he will. Tries to throw it to Kami, but a nice challenge coming from the Fenrir side. Means they turn it into attack. If Lurky can get above this one, it's off the backboard. Sprat is there. That's going to go in. And now with a 2-goal lead, Fenrir, they might be starting to believe.
I'm sure they're believing, but it's a question of whether or not, because they've been in 2-goal leads before, and we still have more than half the game to play out, right? So I'm not counting Renegades out yet, but it looks really good for Fenrir right now. Don't get complacent. That's what's cost you in the past in this series. But yeah, absolutely. They should be feeling themselves. They should be feeling great about this as CJ forced to go out quite wide to defend that one. And this time it's just Sprat going for it. Like, the rest of the entire game is on the other side of the field, but Sprat's still going for the goals. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. And CJ is going to put one up. Sprat falling back, plays it through the corner, tries to connect to someone, but instead finds Sticky. CJ to Sticky. No, can quite drop it just where he wants to. So now Sticky will have a chance to pass it forward. Kami with the touch. And CJ did get demoed. Kami goes for the double. Doesn't connect, but Sticky is there. And the Renegades are back within 1.
And that was just a really good position by the Renegades, right? They're good at the attack. We know it. Kami goes for a double, kind of causes Sprat to have really no good options. You go up high for that one, you don't trust your defender, that's a problem. You try and contest, against the player right in front of you, there's a potential for the double touch to go on. It's just a very difficult situation to be in. At least maybe throwing yourself at something was good. Like, just throwing yourself at one option might have been better, but like, nothing super ideal. Flip reset, attempted it there. I'm wondering if these guys are getting a little bit too cocky.
No, I think that was just a situation where you're just trying to find anything to sort of break this one open. That's not a style thing. That is I am trying to juke you out. I am trying to beat you type situation. It's gotten to that level between these two teams. It's Fenrir wins a nice 50, gets the ball to that corner. CJ is there, is going to try to push it forward. Caught by Kami, pinch off the roof. That might have gone in had Sprat not been there. Still, the attack will continue. CJ from the corner, back over to Lurky, and Sticky will shut it down. The Renegades, they've got 90 seconds to find a goal to stay alive.
But they have to break
goals.
this attack first of all. Riv just finds it out of the corner. There was just no one there to answer it right at the moment. We saw Siki get beaten out in the contest. CJ too slow to the play. It leaves it all on Kami, and who is just not able to get there fast enough and had to contest as well. Sprat diving in, so caught a bit all over the place for the Renegades there.
I mean, I don't know how... Oh, goes in this game! Riv nearly beats Kami to secure that one. Instead, now Kami actually might be able to go that other way. The 2-goal lead is the most dangerous since Kami tries to get some power with a musty through the corner. Isn't able to connect on it. Still the setup there for CJ. Won't be able to wrap around it. 1:10 left to play. The Renegades needing 2 goals. Oh, it's time to clutch up. CJ will take us back within 1.
I don't know what to say about this anymore, Formal. It's just so back and forth. It's like they're having, like, kind of giving each other shots. It's like, have you ever seen Japanese wrestling? I'm sorry, Wrestle Kingdom happens, still in my head. They'll just stand there and be like, hit me once, I'll hit you, you hit me, I'll hit you, first person to go down loses. It feels like it's a bit like that. Obviously, they haven't actually hand-shook to that, but, like, well, if they had, I wouldn't be surprised, right?
It feels a bit like that, you know? Going back to the freestyle comps, actually. You take a turn, then I take a turn. Let's see what you can do. And 48 seconds to go, the Renegades. Time to get that equalizer. If you still want to be that top team, let's see it. Siki goes for the dribble down the middle, but Riv will be able to cut it off. I mean, if you're Fenrir too, now is not the time to get over-aggressive as well. It's time to actually stay back and focus on that more defensive effort.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I don't know how, like, we've seen their defense is very strong, but, I mean, locking into the attack without overextending is also something they've been quite good at, and there's something to be said about that. So long as Riv doesn't lose that against Kami, is able to kind of keep it alive for a little bit longer, gets a good interception, and any time you buy here, so long as you don't get way out of position, it's got to be advantageous. 8 seconds left. Siki goes up. Is the play on?
No, it's down low. He goes for the ground pinch. Actually gets put in an awkward spot. Ball is going to be taken to the corner, but Kami's there from underneath. He doesn't get a touch on the ball. And Team Fenrir pulls off our first upset of the year. It's in the first game of the year. Does not matter. They advance to the semifinals.
That's even bigger, though. First game of the year is an upset, taking out Renegades in quarters. What is going on here?
Cringe Society out in groups. Ground Zero loses to Solicit, and the Renegades drop to Fenrir. The big three are all out right now, and if I'm not mistaken, I know it might not count for too much, but Mind Freak actually out as well. Granted, they did have a sub today, but they dropped to the Dire Wolves, and honestly, we're in a situation where we're going to be looking at, like, the Dire Wolves right now, the new favorites to take this tournament. I mean, the Renegades have always been their Achilles heel. Hey, this could be their best chance yet.
Yep, I'd believe it, right? And that's something where we really want to see if they can actually pull through this one, or if now the fact that the rest of the competition is stepping up as much as they have been, if that's going to be too much for them to manage. But oh my god, I was just so impressed with Team Fenrir there. Like, there were holes, right? Don't get me wrong, there were holes, but I liked so much of what I was seeing. Really loved Loki stepping up. Of course, Riv's the best player on the field in any game they're in, but, like, you know, that's sorry, I'm carrying that bit on. That's just going to be it for now. You've cursed me with this. But, like, I did really love their performance.
Yeah, I loved it as well. And again, like I just said, you know, Direwolves could be the favorites moving forward. But here's the one thing I'm worried about for the Direwolves. Fenrir played like the Renegades. Like, they matched the style almost point for point. And if the Renegades are constantly the Direwolves' Achilles heel, maybe this next matchup isn't as, you know, free or gimme as they thought. I mean, it's a team that just beat the Renegades, so you've always got to be cautious. Meanwhile, on that other side of the bracket as well, Solicit's going to be taking on Forbidden Gaming. Forbidden beat Camera Havoc 3-1. Solicit beat Ground Zero 3-2, as, you know, we announced before. So, crazy semifinals up ahead. Stick with us. We'll be back in just a few moments. That was fun.
Feel the thunder, shake the open ground. Won't give in, I'm fighting for the crown. Heavy clouds are way above my head, like all of my regrets.
if you had asked me who the top 4 teams was of 2020 in OCE, Ground Zero, Renegades, Cringe Society, Mind Freak. None of these teams are in the top 4 today. It's semi-final time here at the RLO Masters, and 4 surprises in a sense. You could argue that the Direwolves were probably favored on this day against Mind Freak, but the results are the same. Solicit, Forbidden, Fenrir, Direwolves. One of these 4 teams are going to take our first RLO tournament, and it feels so up in the air.
Oh, yeah, I have absolutely no idea on this one. Like, oh my god, you kind of gave us a bit of a look at how you thought this match the current match we're about to look at is going to go. But just taking a look at across the bracket in general, my god, Solicit versus Forbidden. You said that Forbidden were definitely a team to watch. They've beaten, Canberra Havoc. They've taken them out already, 3-1. Pretty dominant effort. Solicit was the big news, that upset. 3-2, taking it to all 5 games as well. But there it is. That's such huge news. These 2 teams, I'd love to see how they go. You called Fenrir Forbidden as the grand final, right? That was your call.
Yeah, I said it.
25% of circumstances, that's it, right?
You know what? I'm going to throw a challenge out there, Timmy. Like, honestly, if it turns into a Forbidden Fenrir final, I want you to go back to my Twitter and bring up that little graphic I made last night, because I think that will be very, very relevant if we get there. But no, it's definitely going to be an interesting one moving forward. I still feel like the Direwolves are going to be our favorite in this situation. But before we get into our next matchup, just something I would like to address from kind of a more personal place, actually, on behalf of RLO, so it's personal, I guess, for all of us here, but we do apologize for some of the choppiness and some of the lag that we're seeing in the stream. We are doing our best to try and fix the situation. Hopefully, we'll be able to get a cleaner sort of stream moving forward in this one, so we know it's not the cleanest feed that we all want. I mean, trust us when I say, like, we really do want to give you that clean feed. Hopefully things will be able to be cleaned up, but thank you for sticking with us nonetheless, and we'll continue to try to do our best, at least audibly, to paint the picture on what's going on.
That's it. And that's everyone's doing the best they can. Everyone works so hard at RLO. We were talking a bit earlier about how, like, Dover had to be forced to have a break, to make sure that, there was at least some time off for making sure everything was as good as possible. Best live broadcast, right? So, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the hard work that goes into it, I mean, you see it, and usually, pretty much, even these situations, I mean, the product that comes out, I still think is top-notch, and a lot of that has to do with the teams, and a lot of that has to do with the people watching along. Yet, now let's talk a little bit more, I believe, of this matchup we're about to see. Team Fenrir versus the Direwolves. I hinted a little bit before going to the break that this could be another trap game for the Direwolves, because Fenrir and the way how they attacked the ball was so similar to the Renegades. It was these constant tight rotations, attack. Maybe it's not so much the Renegades that we saw at the later half of 2020, but definitely the Renegades that we saw for a majority of the year, and that was the Renegades that just always seemed to take the Direwolves out.
Yeah. And that's like you kind of hinted about them being the kryptonite to the side of the Direwolves, but it is still a different team, right? Even if the attacking style is the same, even if the way Fenrir actually play is very similar, it is still a different team, right? There is still different things going on. And at absolute least, maybe there's like the fact that the actual nameplates are different might have something to do with it. It's like Fenrir, it's like, oh, that says Fenrir, not Renegades. We could beat these guys easily is like the mental boost they need. But really, it's got to be crushing if Direwolves even start going down to Fenrir the same way they do against Renegades. That is a bit of a crushing blow to their confidence, right?
I mean, absolutely. This is the best situation the Direwolves have been in to sort of take one of these weekly events that we've seen in a very long time. When you looked at the top 4 teams, I kind of listened before, but number 5, kind of right up there with Mind Freak, would be the Direwolves. This is their moment, you would think, and it would be monumental for the Wolfpack if they were to come through and sort of prove themselves almost to be the superior Wolfpack, actually. I just realized both teams go with the Wolf logo. It's going to be a real dogfight, no matter how you look at it.
Hey, very nice. Very, very nice. I mean, to be fair, like, Fenrir is the big dog, right? The big wolf who's like, the ultimate, essentially. Almost like the deity of wolves, if you will. But it doesn't mean the Direwolves can't show their superiority here. They have been, in this terms of this roster, my understanding is they've, not necessarily the roster, but they have been, like, around the space for a fair while, so,
Yeah, I mean, exactly. We've seen this combo of Zen, Misty, and Fiber playing together for pretty much so far the entirety of RLCS Season 10. Occasionally, Vive will substitute in, but majority of the time, he will be that coach. And this team, they're fast, they're aggressive as well. They are super fun to watch. Fiber in particular, a player to look out for. He does some crazy things if given space, boost, and earnest. So he's going to be the one to watch out for. 1 minute into this game, no one's really established anything just yet. Sprat with the first chance doesn't quite get that double. Riv is there, but it's going to be shut down from Fiber from above.
That's it. I've liked I've liked the offensive pressure from Fenrir, but like you expect that, right? It's not gotten them anything just yet. Direwolves able to hold on pretty well so far. But they have to keep going with that. You know, they can't really let those openings happen. There's a demo, 2 in the defense. Double commit. It's going to go straight back in. And actually, yeah, like Lurky just finds it. Lurky's been so great this last 2 series.
Oh my goodness. I mean, and doing that as well off the recovery from that first touch, he sees the double commit and knows he just has to put it towards the goal. It doesn't have to be hit hard. If he gets it past the defenders, that's going in, able to do just that. And it's interesting for me because the Direwolves are a team that, like, again, they do things like this. They get aggressive, they get breakaways, they put so much pressure on, and they almost get goals off the kickoff. Zen with another chance, puts it a little bit high. Follow through, though, will get stopped. Both these teams you feel like are going to be more comfortable on attack, and so far in this one, Fenrir definitely has controlled the tempo of the game.
Yeah, and that's something which I'm sure Fenrir feel pretty warmed up for, having just faced the Renegades. But it looks like they are just kind of outclassing at the moment. Sprat with a very nice goal there, pulling the defense of Direwolves just around all over the place.
Yeah, and so far, this is a case of, you know, Fenrir playing the exact type of style that the Direwolves have struggled to in the past, which is, you know, so that tight rotations, constant attacks, constant threats on the goal. It's a little bit disheartening to see the Direwolves struggling against this, actually, considering that, like, I feel like this has been a weakness of theirs for a little while. But, you know, series is still early. There's still plenty of time for them to bounce back. I feel like if the momentum goes back into the Direwolves' way, they can do the exact same thing to Fenrir and really control the tempo, really control the attack. This game is going to be so momentum-based that, yes, Fenrir has control of it now, but the second they let up, look out, because the Direwolves, they're going to be hungry.
Yeah, I'd absolutely believe that, and they are. That's the thing, you mentioned, they are like a team who's got experience. They are good, they play well together. There is a reason that even if they aren't in that top echelon of like the top few teams, they are just sitting outside that looking for a way in. And I mean, right at the moment, Zen's trying to get a clearance out, but they do have to kind of make some sort of comeback into this game. Fiverr picks this one up, managed to juke it past Riv. Gets almost a back shot here from Misty, but it doesn't quite come to anything as Sprat's going to go straight back on the offense. And this is kind of where Direwolves have struggled a little bit.
As we do see a nice pass off that backboard, Sprat's going to go up for the ball. Doesn't make that clean read. Lurky has a chance. Off the sidewall, trying to throw it back towards the middle of the field, but didn't get that touch, and Fiber's already there to punish. Good setup for Misty, who will turn it into a shot, and the Direwolves do strike back within 1 with just under 2 minutes to play.
I forget there's a bunny girl in this game now. This is great. I'm very happy. Sorry, not take away from that goal or anything like that, but, you know, very impressive.
You know
but yeah, like, you kind of talked about the fact that Direwolves could turn it around, and it's only 2-1 at the moment. It feels like this game is a little bit less structured, a little bit more about kind of getting into the series and understanding how the series is going to play out. But, I mean, the fact that it's being kept close is still a good sign.
You know what? I'm okay with the Bunny Girl as long as we don't play on the Bunny Girl map. I'm just going to say it right now, that
That's fair.
Rave
No,
map,
yeah.
I don't know what it's called, like Neon Rave or whatever. Worst map ever made. I said it. I said it. Visually, it's pretty, but playing on it, it is awful. And if we ever have to cast one of those games, I don't even know. So, anyways, 2-1 lead right now for Fenrir. They're going to go ahead and try and clear it up to the opposite end of the corner. And, well, it's a big clear, but Fiber now has possession of the ball.
I'm going to say that I don't even like the aesthetic of it. So there you are. We're just blaming it now, apparently. But here we go. 1 minute left. 1 goal disadvantage to the side of Direwolves. Weird way to say it, but you know what? It's fine. Makes sense.
Yep.
Right at the moment, they do have potential control of the ball if they can hold on to it. But in fact, it goes to Riv. Flicked up
That's a
high
big
on the
demo.
defense, but it's just opened again for Lurky, and there it is.
Yeah, Sprat comes up huge with the demo right there, just opening the doorway for Lurky to smash that one through. Misty was trying to pass it back to Zen, and I mean, that's just a great read by Sprat to recognize the play that they're going for, and immediately taking out the player whose job it was to get that booming clear. Already Lurky is in position to punish. 3-1 lead for Fenrir.
Yep, that's it. Plays it off the wall, but just goes straight back to Sprat. Once again, control contested here. Lurky, if that had gone in, it would have been just another to add to the highlight reel at this point, realistically. Riv gets the contest with Misty. isn't able to get it past it. But yeah, that's it right now. Fenrir are back on the offense and feeling pretty good about it, especially if Fibra's unable to get some sort of clearance out here.
Reduced speed, 335 remaining in this one. Larky is able to get a touch. I just had a very scary experience. I'll explain what just happened later, but I need to regain my composure a little bit. Otherwise, Sprat goes for a touch, doesn't find too much, and Missy will find the clear.
Yep, that's it. I mean, they're on the attack right at the moment of Direwolves. There's only 20 seconds left, so, you know, it's going to be all right. It's going to be realistically unlikely the Direwolves are going to be able to pull this one back. I'd say impossible, but, you know, weirder things have happened, I think it's fair to say. As Fiber tries to put that one across with a 7-second coming in, I think we can actually call it impossible now. It's just going to be a matter of grounding the ball and closing out Game 1.
Yeah, that's going to be it. Game 1 is going to go to Team Fenrir. They get themselves that little bit of a win. I mean, continuing that momentum that they got from being the Renegades, and it kind of played out how I was expecting. Fenrir with that similar style to the Renegades. They attack similar to the Renegades, and they exploit the same weaknesses that the Renegades historically have been able to exploit against the Direwolves, where they sort of force these awkward double commits and then immediately punish because of the tight rotations. Again, if you're the Direwolves, it just comes down to a little bit better defensive communication, and they should be able to find better results, but it's hard when you're just getting pounded with as much speed that Team Fenrir, in particular Lurky, has been able to put out.
Yeah, that's it. You're absolutely right. When you're just getting... the ball is always... like heading towards your goal, like it's magnetized, it's a bit hard to set up your own structured plays. Like, that's a fair point. Also, credit to Lurky for topping every single stat except for demos.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good. I mean, that's amazing, realistically. Like, that's what you want to see. So Fenrir, with the 1-game advantage. Moving forward in this one, the question will be, will they be able to keep that momentum moving? Again, we sort of cited it before. I feel like this is just going to be a heavy momentum-based series between these two teams. And if the Direwolves can take even 1 game back off Fenrir, it's easy to see a world where they'll then take the next 2 and then take the series. They're still the favorites in my eyes, but so far, Fenrir, they're looking better and better with each game.
Which is terrifying, because they didn't look too bad in the first game we saw them in, right? Like, they weren't bad in that situation, but you're right. They're stepping up, and they're meeting every kind of challenge which is thrown their way, which just makes it so hard to beat them, because if your opponent's adapting before you've had a chance to really, like, build anything against them, where do you find your openings? Right at the moment, Direwolves going for another attempt on one of those kickoff goals. They've tried a couple of those so far, but not finding anything off it. Riv has open space, so does Sprat. Open goal, easy done, cleared out, 1-0 lead for Renegades right now. The Direwolves kind of gave that one a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you see the double commit in the middle of the pitch, and the third member misses in the corner. That's an open net, and you cannot afford to make those defensive missteps. Not against an aggressive team, not against a team like Fenrir and the way how they're playing right now. So the Direwolves give up an early goal. Once again, they're on that back foot, and unfortunately, the momentum not with them. This is prime pickings right now for Fenrir to maybe just really exploit this team and start to pull away with it.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? It is like the momentum which can be built immediately is a lot. It's there, right? Five managed to get it demolished to keep it out of the defensive line, at least for now. Zen's going to have a chance at running it up. Not quite an open goal, but managed to make a solid attempt off that one, and Fiverr is there to back it up right now, and the pressure is on.
2 critical saves from Fenrir. Back-to-back missiles taken at the goal. Yet Fenrir makes, stop after stop. And the super impressive thing about those, they were rotational stops. It wasn't the same player jumping and panicking and just trying to do everything he could. It was controlled defensive efforts, and that is phenomenal to see. If Fenrir starts to play defense as well as they're playing offense, another goal, by the way, for Lurky, this team has such a high ceiling, and we are seeing either like one of the best honeymoon periods ever or the emergence of another star team in our region.
I would be happy with the latter, honestly. I'd be really excited about that. And something I was actually wondering in Game 1, which kind of goes to the exact point you just made, but at what point do you stop calling, and kind of the same point I was thinking about Renegades at a few points in that series. At what point do you stop calling them an offensively talented team and just calling them a talented team when they make saves like that,
Absolutely, that's a big question. That's going to be a shot from Missy. That's going to find its way into the goal. Not sure what I just heard in the background right there, if that carried over. I don't think it did. But yeah, Direwolves, similar to our first game, they do get a goal right back. Sprat unable to get that pinch off the ceiling, and that's a 2-1 game.
That's a 2-1 game, and that's the thing. It's been kind of close like this. It's been tantalizingly close for Direwolves a fair bit of this, these first 2 games, but they haven't really looked like they've been solidly in control of it, which is the big problem, I think.
Yeah, we do see Zen looking to get something towards that backboard. Save made by Lurky initially, but puts it in a bit of an awkward spot. Riv off that backboard, can't make that read. Ball continues to be lobbed in the air. Riv wins a nice 50. Actually able to follow it up. Open net. No! He doesn't have the boost. And Misty comes up huge with that first save. Sprat with the follow-through shot's going to be saved by Misty as well.
Oh, that's a little bit tragic there. Like, it's just, there's the goal. It's right in front of you, but you just can't reach it. I'm sure,
Riv?
oh my god, Riv, what?
That was the
this
greatest
game got
own goal
weird.
I've ever seen. That was a double touch own goal. What?
No, I don't know. Like, we just got sucked into the alternate dimension where, like, Riv is, like, the biggest troll ever, and just everything is just, I don't even know what to make of it.
Oh, I am going to be so sad if that one didn't really get translated over, because, again, I apologize for the technical issues that players are having, but it literally looked, it wasn't actually a double touch when we saw the replay. He didn't get that first touch, but he spiked that thing into his goal with the authority.
Yeah, it was like a warning shot to the rest of the team to be like, don't get complacent or I will score on you. Like, when your own player is finding holes in your defense, you gotta shore it up, right? I mean, it's not like, to be fair, it's not like not like Fenrir's defense has been awful, as we were kind of saying earlier, but like, no one can say for sure against Riv, I guess.
Absolutely. And I mean, yeah, going back to your previous point, absolutely, you have to agree. Like, just because the team is more comfortable on offense doesn't mean they haven't been playing phenomenal defense. And that's why they're looking like a scary team. That's how you beat the Renegades. And that's how you take a 3-2 lead over the Direwolves. Another shot from Lurky finds its mark again from the right corner.
Yeah, that's it. And like, it was just so, like, I swear that after the Fenrir hits the ball, after Fenrir do hit the ball, you could say, it feels like it just gains slightly different physics. It's just bouncier. It's just able to do weirder stuff. And I know that's just like an illusion created by the finesse of this team. And to be fair, some of the slip-ups in defense as well, you know, you gotta say, from the side of Direwolves, but it's just like, it's just absurd. I mean, so is Sprat. Like, Alright, we're back in the regular dimension now. We're finished with our alternate universe, and Sprat's back to being stylish.
Okay, yeah, but can we talk about that entire exchange actually from the start? First, Fiber tries a reset goal, gets the reset, doesn't get the goal. Then we saw Riv go for the reset goal, but actually missed the reset entirely. And then Sprat pulls that off the ceiling. That was 3 freestyle shots. One of them does work out. It's the third one, and that's sort of what I expected, actually, between these two teams. I'm not going to lie. When I see these lineups, when I see how Fenrir is playing, it's sort of those exchanges I'm expecting right now. But typically, you would see the Direwolves coming out on top. But at the moment, it's been all Fenrir. And with a minute 20 remaining, a 2-goal lead, they could be going to a 2-game lead match point to get to the finals.
That's big. I don't, like, okay, realistically, if this game is, like, kind of solidified for the side of Fenrir, I don't see Direwolves making the 3-0, you know, after that, like, to come back, like the 3-game in a row sweep. I just don't know if I see that happening. Sure, it's possible, but it just doesn't seem likely with the way this game's going, you know? It seems almost impossible. And right now, I don't think they're going to be, I think they're going to be in that situation.
It's definitely an interesting situation, and it is a problem for them, but they still can bring it back. Again, the thing with the Direwolves, and I've said it a couple times, this is a big momentum-based team, and if they can find a way to take that game 3, if they can find a way to start to bring it back, I feel like 100% they can pull off that reverse sweep, but they have to make that first step, and we each agree we haven't been able to see enough from them to be able to pull that off just yet. So we'll see how we go going into this game 3, but if this trend continues, we are going to be seeing Fenrir in our grand final.
Yeah, and a 3-0 as well, right? Like, oh my god, that'd be a huge deal. And I do take your point. To be fair, I do take your point about Direwolves stepping up, managing to take a few games in a take a full run if they do start it off. So I guess it's like you can't get too complacent for the side of Fenrir, but like realistically, they just look so good. And I mean, I would like to see a tricky overtime, like, or last second goal here, but yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to see it this time, but maybe we'll see it in Game 3. Maybe the Direwolves will start to bring it back Game 3 because they have to. Their back is against the wall, and I called this, you know, one of the best opportunities they've ever had to take one of these weekly tournaments. And they're letting it slip through these fingers, but I go back to what I say about Team Fenrir at the very start of the broadcast. Like, this lineup is a top 8 lineup. On their day, I can see them competing with the top 4 to like really try to make that push. Did I expect it to happen on their first outing, like their first time really seeing them again in 2021? No, I expected it to take a little while and, you know, maybe build up to it. But instead, they have just come out swinging. And right now, one game away from a grand final appearance, and they have all the momentum on their side.
Yeah, that's it. That's the big, that's a big thing, right? You talked about Direwolves with the ability to like flip that on its head. But I don't know, like I said before, I just don't see them being able to kind of pull this one back from here. I think that if it's surely it's just got to be the Fenrir sweep from here. Maybe you get a bit of a resurgence, maybe you get a goal back, but it just Fenrir looks so good. Maybe I'd be less like doubting them less if they hadn't have just taken out Renegades before this, right? Because it's like if you take one miracle series off a good team, then like you can, like, people can still doubt you. People can still say, oh, it's circumstantial, it was the day, it was the game, it was whatever, people weren't playing well. But going back-to-back against good teams and putting up a really strong, dominant performance against them, at that point, you kind of can't make the point, like, you can't make the statement that it's just a miracle anymore. It is absolutely, definitively good play, and that's what I think is making me think that they might just take this series in this game.
Yeah, I think they're going to take the series, whether or not they can get that momentum to the final, and arguably, just as importantly, if they can take this momentum into this weekend and see how they go at RLCX. That will see Lurky goes for the double and gets it in with a bit of help. That actually looked like a bit of an own goal. I need to catch this again. I mean, the setup was there, that next touch there, but from underneath, yeah, Misty.
Ooh.
That's not the touch you want to see, and the Direwolves already put themselves on the back foot.
Yeah, that's not ideal. I'm sure it's, I'm sure it don't need me to say that, but I mean, Renegades, like I say, I think 3 or 4 of their games, they got the first goal up. It's not, that first few seconds goal isn't what makes it. Zen with a huge connection off the kickoff. You said that Direwolves can do this. They've tried a couple of times already, but Zen just using all the space in the world, floating, didn't even look like they were playing Rocket League in that scene. It looked like they were playing Flight Simulator.
That angle was disgusting, and that is dangerous because guess what? You open up the floodgates and the Wolves will come pouring in off the kickoff. Fiber gets the first lead for the Dire Wolf pack of this series.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is looking interesting. This is what makes this series interesting. Direwolves coming back, showing that they have bite. How many wolf puns can we fit in this? Probably
geez.
That's probably a lot. But, showing that they're still here, showing they still have bite. And especially with Misty going up for another one there. Riv being in a bit of the way. I didn't think that connection was probably what Misty wanted in general, but they're still in the attack. They're still going. They're still firing at this. Does go over the top. Zen doesn't find an opportunity to pass it off, so now maybe some room to breathe for Fenrir, but maybe not just yet.
Challenge accepted. As we continue with this one, Lurky's going to go for something, but not really going to find that goal just yet. Zen now's going to try to clear this one forward. Able to push it up, gets a play off that backboard. Lurky now waiting for something to try to connect to Riv with a pinch, but they don't get too much from it right there. Misty now, the second attempt as well to put towards the goal, but Sprat's going to make that easy save, and you can see the Direwolves are playing for the back. Sprat with that nice bump actually might set things up, but Riv goes straight into Lurky, and now the ball is dead. Lob shot should be stopped by Sprat, who misses it off the backboard. Misty open net, puts it up high, going for the waterfall, but Sprat makes the read in corner.
All right, we're back in the alternate dimension. Let's go. We've just got to ride it out if you are on the side of Fenrir, but they are holding on for now. Lurky drops it down. It's Lurky who's trying to pull this one through, though.
Lurky with 2 key saves right there, and now it's going to try to push it through that corner, but here comes Fiber. Tries to play up high, swings and misses on the bump play. Riv gets the save before being taken out by Misty, and now Lurky, space to work with. Gets it past the first defender. Tries to play through the corner as well. Sprat waiting in the box, but won't get a chance as the ball gets played out. Another double commit for Fenrir. They keep going for these pinches or double commits, and now they're starting to get burned by them. Misty with the double. Makes it look so easy. 3-1 lead for the Direwolf.
Yeah, that's it. You talked about the floodgates being open. It's absolutely happening. A few weird mistakes, I think it's fair to say, from Fenrir. There's a bit of unusual stuff going on.
The Baja men have asked the question, who let the dogs out? Well, Fenrir has let the wolves out in this one, and they're starting to pull away and get that momentum back. Yet Sprat gonna shut it down. Riv will bury his bone, and it's a 2-3 game.
There we go. Well done. I'm not counting these because I just don't think I have the mental capacity. My arithmetic isn't that good. It's not like I can't count and cast at the same time. I think you've gone over what I can handle. But
I actually don't know that many. I just got them all out right now.
That's fair, okay.
Should be good moving forward. We'll see what happens. Fiverr's going to try to set up Misty, but Sprat will be able to get underneath, trying to use the roof to get himself back on the ground. Lurky with an absolute strike, and we are tied at 3 apiece.
You're absolutely right. Lurky has been unleashed in this series after already putting up a fantastic showing in the last one against Renegades. It just feels like Lurky's able to take these, just kind of pull everything out in the situation. Is still kind of running the scoreline at the moment. Just checking like all of the different stats in the game. Lurky's pretty much top of all of them. The only thing they're missing is assists, but that's okay because when you're scoring all the goals, Sprat has been an opportunity here, pushes forward. Lurky going for another one off the crossbar. Riv puts it in, and they're just going for it. There we are. Fenrir back in the lead.
So when you are the alpha, you don't need to get assists. The pack assists you. And this time, it's Riv actually assisting Lurky in getting that goal through. A 4-3 lead right now for Fenrir. They're back on top, and they've got to hold on for another 2 minutes, 15 seconds. It looked like the Direwolves had that momentum back in their favor, but now it is gone. Will they be able to bring it back in this one? I feel like one good goal could do it. Misty nearly finds it, but Lurky again with that save. Lurky in 2021 is absolutely insane.
I was going to actually ask before this game if I could change my pick, like before the series, if I could change my pick from Riv. But you know what? Misty's there too! Misty's a decent kind of oh my god, this is what you wanted, right? This is the show match. Yep. I don't mean show matches that doesn't mean anything. I mean show match because it's all show.
That was by far one of the best resets I have seen in a good long while. That was so clean, so fast from Misty. Blink and you miss it. Game's tied. Lurky again puts another shot on target. This time Zen's there to stop it, but here comes Riv. We'll try to play high through that corner from underneath. Misty tries to get the touch, but Riv is already there. Lurky pushing forward. Bump doesn't connect, and it looks like everyone pushed forward. This could be dangerous. Direwolves trying to find that counterattack. Lurky still tries to slow it down enough. Sprat trying to play third man. Finally gets the touch in the corner. Tries to flick it up over the top of Zen and is successful in doing so. Do we see that attack? A minute 20 remaining and this game is on a knife's edge.
It is. It absolutely is. But it's so much more important right now for the Direwolves than it is for Renegades. You can make the point that giving the Direwolves the momentum back is a terrifying prospect. And there it is. Riv doesn't quite get to that one. Fiverr puts it in. But I feel like how much it means for the Direwolves is what's important here, right?
Yes.
Like the opportunity to build that comeback you were talking about. Take the 3 games in a row. Renegades, I mean, you don't want to give it up. Sorry, Renegades, Fenrir, you don't want to give it up, but like, ooh, it's not that important, right? You can kind of keep going. It feels like they're having a bit of fun here.
Not against the Direwolves. Other teams, maybe. Not against the Direwolves. This is not a team you want to give up games against because they will punish you in the long run. Ball back across the middle. Misty! Oh my goodness. This is turning into a freestyle show as he gets the double off the wall. I believe, okay, it was set up by Zen, but still. Nutter shot.
That was, I think if Sprat left that would have been, I think that would have cleared out, wouldn't it? But we're pretty close too. But unfortunately, you can't know that, right? You can't have that, like, even some of the best players struggle with that level of insight. And it looks like Misty's just going for it again. Passed off to Zen, doesn't find it this time as Sprat gets a bit of an interception there. But I mean, something on the side of Fenrir has to stop this momentum if they want to take this series. And it has to be stopped, maybe not right yet, but like soon, you know? Absolutely. Alarm bells are starting to ring, even if it's just the really, really, you know, don't worry, it's fine ones.
Yeah, it's definitely getting interesting at this stage. That's not how you clear a ball, Lurky, but unfortunately for the Direwolves, Riv was there to make that save, and Riv's actually going to keep pushing forward. That's going to be across the middle. Dangerous spot. Lurky's there. Zen throws it to the corner where Sprat is waiting. Pinch back towards the box. Zen has a nice read and stops Riv from fighting the shot, and now Misty should be able to punish Lurky. Trying to play defense against the goal instead of the setup. Riv will be able to find that clear, but with only 5 seconds remaining, it's all for naught. A big win and another goal on top, courtesy of Fiverr, and the Direwolves are back in this series as they will take game number 3.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, they are back in a big way as well. They're able to find these big offensive plays, the showiness, the style, the skill, everything you love to see in the Direwolves match is being shown in absolute spades in this match. There we are. There's a card reference instead of a wolf reference for you. Bit of variety.
All right, yeah.
But like, yeah, like they are absolutely being shown up here. And maybe you're right. Maybe they do take the run of 3 games. I don't. I'm not 100% confident in it. But maybe it happens.
It's hard to sort of base a series off a game where the scoreline has 11 goals scored in it. That was a high-scoring game, and it really started to turn into like seemingly a freestyle event, which each team sort of taking turns trying to one-up each other and what they can do. If we return to like more conventional Rocket League, 100%, I do feel like Team Fenrir can start to bring it back, but I don't know. The Direwolves, when they get that little bit of momentum, when they get the scent of their prey, I should say, they hunt. And when they hunt quickly and efficiently. And we realistically saw that in game number 3. We saw how quick they were able to put those goals down. It's tough to evade a hungry Wolfpack, and they are hungry right now. I mean, they have been starved so far. If they can take this next game, I 100% feel they are taking this entire series.
Yeah, I don't know about this one. I'm worried. I'm really, really worried. I just did not expect this kind of pickup from Direwolves. I'm worried for my prediction, by the way, I should say, because I sometimes don't specify this. I am very worried for my, don't worry, Fenrir have got this. I am a little bit unfortunate. I think it might be a bit of an unfortunate situation here. I think Fenrir are the ones to put the hand in the Wolves' mouth and get bit, but it's whether or not they can come back from this.
Yeah, we'll see what they're going to be able to do. Look, I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit emotionally invested in the idea of the Forbidden Fenrir final just because of, my Twitter post the other day. I don't know why.
Graphic design is your passion, I get it.
Exactly. But okay. Unfortunately, we do have results. Solicit is going to the grand final. They were able to beat Forbidden 3-1. And Solicit, they have made their mark. Speaking of making marks, Misty with the low to the ground double takes the 1-0 lead.
That's it, and I mean, we might have neither of those teams in the finals. Like I said, there was only like a 25% chance of those two meeting each other. Love me some stats, but now that those hopes are dashed, it could just be that exact opposite.
Yeah, it could be. It very well could be. I mean, and I know so far in this series, Lurky has been absolutely popping off, but I want to give some more credit to Misty as Zen says, don't forget about me as well. I'm going to get another goal in this, and less than a minute in, and already the Direwolves have put 2 on the board.
Yeah, that's it. It's incredible. They found a couple of really, really strong openings. I don't want to count out Fiber either, because some of those goals were very, very good. But you're right. I think that in that last game in particular, Misty's ability just to come through for the team and really set up a lot of these plays and instill that confidence, I'm sure the Direwolves needed to really come back into this one. It's been great. They've sort of tightened up the defense a little bit as well, which is in 2 offensive teams, that's kind of that can sometimes be the deciding factor. Here's Fiber going up high once again, gets challenged by Rivers. Zen tries to pick it up as well, but yeah, I completely agree with you about that. I think that's a very fair assertion.
See what Sprat can do right now in the 1v1. Isn't able to muscle out Fiber, but Lurky will be able to keep adding goals to Lurky's count. I don't know how you stop this player because he's just scoring everything he touches, and we're back within 1 and being poised for another real high-scoring game.
Absolutely. Lurky's just able to kind of strap on those jetpacks when they need to and just slam the ball into the goal from kind of any opportunity. Doesn't matter if it's a big, high aerial setup, if it's a bouncing setup, if it's coming out of the corner, if it's just straight in front, just the ball dropped in front of the goal, they're able to find these. Misty almost getting a good redirection off Lurky, still in a dangerous position right now. If you are a fan of Fenrir, I had to pause for a second. That one is a bit of a tongue twister. But they have managed to wrest possession back a little bit. 5 with a very good interrupt. Kind of beats it past 2 as well. It's just Riv now on the defense. Has to try and break this one. Tries to buy a tough time for Sprat. Ball goes across the face, which is a very scary position for it to be, but it's still in possession right now of the Direwolves.
We do see Lurky swing and miss on the clear. Riv gets an awkward touch as well. Leaves it up to Sprat. Tried to use the post for a bit of a pinch, but instead pushed it too far forward. Misty keeps it underneath the first defender, but can't get it past Lurky, who now is going to have to go 1v1 against Fiber. It's always a scary proposition. 50 goes across the pitch, and Misty gets there first, looking for that next touch, but Riv does enough to delay.
Yeah, that's it. They still haven't managed to, the Fenrir haven't managed to find a solid break just yet. Lurky and Riv in the same kind of space, not going to be able to use that as much as they might like, but Lurky's so good in the air. Fiber does just clear it out wide. Lurky's still in the play right at the moment. Going to get beaten out as Misty has another opportunity, puts up a bit high. It's going to have to be that extra touch from Fiber to put it over the line, but it isn't quite going to happen. Zen follows it up. 3 players in one spot, and none of them going to be able to save that one. for Fenrir, and Direwolves so strong in this game.
Yeah, and this is a lot cleaner of a game than our last one. I mean, we're starting to see more extended rallies, deeper plays, and the Direwolves are finding these goals by just being faster on the attack than Fenrir is on defense. You saw with that goal right there. There were defenders in position. They could have made that save, but for the first time, we're starting to see Fenrir hesitate a little bit, and if they don't have that swagger, if they don't have that confidence, well, this is going to happen again and again. Zen gets himself that hat trick again real quick after the kickoff.
That's absolutely it. And not to take too much away from this absolute show of dominance right now, but I do appreciate those trans dragons. I'm going to put it out there, you know, not to get political or anything, but those dragons are trans, and I appreciate them. They're valid. Sorry.
I didn't know
I had
the
to
lore
drop that one
behind
in
the
there.
dragons. I actually did not know that.
I don't know, they're pink and blue, and that's about it. Sprat fighting one. There's another dragon!
Dragons
That was
are awesome.
green,
That's
though,
all I'm gonna
so-
say. Anyways, as we watch
Yeah.
Sprat just smash this one through off the kickoff, dribbles it in, and guess what? We're going back to a freestyle, so Fetch. That's what we're doing.
We are, and that's, you know what, I mean, it didn't work out too well for Fenrir last time, but they do keep putting points on the board. At least that's something, right? They're not going down without a fight. Sprat whiffs that one. Maybe not ideal. Zen gets a bit of a setup here. Might just get the double touch in. Riv able to block it and put it past Fiverr as well. It's up to Misty to try and set this one up, but Lurky has enough time to rotate back.
With that second touch off the roof, Sprat from underneath, a plans to put it in, but cannot get it past that post. That is so frustrating, one would think, for Fenrir. Sprat swings and misses, deep clear from Zen, and that turns into a goal, and again, the Direwolves back in control of this one. 3-goal lead, a minute 49 to play.
And it's just been Zen's punishes as well, right? It's just been Zen with like big, brutal punishes, pushing a bit further forward, being able to ping those through whenever a mistake is made. Sprat did drop a couple of misses there, which is unfortunate and also kind of uncharacteristic. So that was one of those things where it was just, you know, the mechs weren't quite there at that moment. And that's something which is fine, if it's, especially if it's uncharacteristic, right? If it's not like a repeatable error. Oh my god, the Riv!
Every time you think this game has like sort of been put away by one of these teams, the other team will strike back in some very dramatic fashion. Riv with a great read right there to get that second touch and put it past not one, not two, but all three defenders of the Direwolves in that situation. Fenrir back within 2, 100 seconds left. This game's not over.
It certainly is not. And if you blinked during that play, you would absolutely believe that Riv teleported. Like, that was just such a perfect jump from one position to another. Zen's got another opportunity here. Goes over one, has to contest Sprat, manages it, but doesn't get that second connection off the crossbar a little bit too awkwardly. Didn't get the height, but still another great setup. They're passing it back. Fiverr's going to go for this one. Try and see if they can make some magic happen. Got to be that Sprat once again, but Sprat just puts it out wide this time.
Minute 13 to go, 2-goal difference. Fenrir gonna have to find 2 quick ones if they want to secure at least an overtime in game number 4. Otherwise, we will be going to our second game 5 in a row. And I did say, you know, if there's any team that can pull off a reverse sweep, Direwolves are my peak candidate, and they're looking poised to go for it tonight as Misty tries to follow it through for the shot. Won't be able to get it past the defenders on this instance. Sprat's going to have one more go at it. Going for the dribble play. Maintains control at least until Fiverr steals it off him. Lurking from underneath. Stopped by Misty. And only 40 seconds left. They're running out of time, but Riv takes us back within 1.
Riv is kind of stepping up here. Like, had a bit of I mean, we call it in League of Legends a happy game. I'm sure if you're a European League of Legends fan, you're exactly what I mean there. Like, had a happy game a little bit before and is like, I'm here, I'm focused, and I'm going to destroy these goddamn wolves. And like, I mean, yeah, it's kind of keeping this team in it, right? A few individually good plays, a few capitalizations. They're still 1 goal down with 35 seconds left. It's not perfect. Riv goes up high and sets the play up again. Is keeping this going quite nicely. Where's Lurky? In position, finds the back of the net. There's the equalizer. Surely this is an overtime formal. I don't know if I can say that with any certainty, though.
Overtime starts now. Next goal wins
Yes.
this. That's how I feel. We've got 25 seconds left in regulation, but overtime starts now. The 2-goal lead. I don't know how many times I need to say it. That is usually the most dangerous lead you can have, although realistically, that was a 3-goal comeback in essentially with 100 seconds left to play, but they did it in about 80 this time around, and Lurky's got it again! Big save from Misty. Gets that pinch off the crossbar. Zen still trying to find the clear, but here comes Sprat. He'll put another one on target. Zen forced to make another big save. Now out of boost and already being challenged. Fenrir, they have their confidence back. They are being that aggressive, disrupting force that sometimes gives the Direwolves issues. Eventually, the ball does get lobbed in the air. Should get spiked down, but Riv actually keeps it alive. We'll get that next touch again off the wall, but it does touch the ground, and we have a game 4 overtime.
I feel like Riv there was like, no, someone's scoring here, and kind of looked at the position of the ball and was like, nah, it's fine, we'll go to overtime. Actually taking this really, really well. Fiber slow played that one almost a little bit too much as Lurky was there, gets demoed by Fiverr. An opportunity here, maybe a double touch. It pinches, but it doesn't quite go in the right direction. That was so scary for the first few seconds.
Yeah, there was power behind that, and if it had been accurate, that could have been it. Instead, we see Fenrir being forced to play a bit of defense right now, but Misty is still pressing forward, doesn't get that second touch. Lurky tries to play off the backboard, but Zen will cut him off. That's a big demo. The net, it's all Sprat on defense, yet he finds the hit and the clear. Lurky now is going to try to chase there in time. Misty's trying to pass back to Zen, but Zen calls him off of it. Goes for the deeper pass. Oh, that is such a great fake pass. You throw it to yourself, then throw the pass, yet somehow Fenrir reached that defense.
Yeah, that's it. Sprat has been huge in that defensive line. We saw one mistake cost 1 goal, and then Sprat come back to save like 3 in a row. Fantastic stuff. They keep pinging it up the other side of the field, though, so Direwolves still have to be careful. They still have to be on top of their rotations as Sprat puts it up high. No one to pick it up there, so Fiverr's going to be able to bounce it back. This is tennis. This isn't Rocket League right at the moment, but we will see a team establish a bit better control. It might be Misty, who's a dangerous, dangerous player. Lurky does get an interruption of that one right now, so again, no full structured attacks coming out just yet, as Zen's doing so well to beat out so many players.
Riv, that was a tough read, because if you hit that ball too hard, you saw, I believe it was Fiverr starting to cheat up behind Zen, and that ball would have gone right to him. Riv had to find a way to throw it to the side and was able to do so. That keeps Fenrir alive in this game, at least for now, although Direwolves still have that major possession. It's going to be Misty again looking for the shot, puts it a little bit in an awkward spot. Lurky almost delivered it right back to him. Riv from underneath actually gets cut off by Misty, and now the Direwolves are playing some of that Fenrir game, it looks like. Only 1 minute boost remaining. Riv actually misses the ball, but Sprat is there. Riv still turns it into a bump, and Sprat gets that second touch. It's off the backboard, but Lurky too far back. I mean, he would have to have been so far forward to turn that into a shot.
Yeah, and I love this aggressive positioning right at the moment. Double demo coming through from Sprat. That's the other big thing Sprat has been doing in these last few series right now. But yeah, I love how aggressive some of the positioning from Direwolves is, especially how good their rotations have been to make up for it. But Lurky's got the ball. Lurky's dangerous. Zen goes out wide for the moment, so we're okay. But once again, Sprat with the demo. It's 2v3 for the next little bit. As Fiverr tries to set up an attack, takes some of the pressure off the defense.
And now with the Sprat with possession after that bump from Riv to get Fiverr off the ball. Play in the corner. No one's challenging. That's actually one of the deeper challenges we've seen from Fenrir right now. I think they're starting to feel a little bit of that pressure, and they're playing further back than what we've seen before. Pass across the Riv. Gets that touch ball off the backboard. No one's going to jump up for it. Lurky instead waits for that touch. And this is actually interesting. Eventually, though, the crack is still found, and if Direwolves are finding cracks with Fenrir falling a little bit further back, that could be a worrying sign moving forward.
That's a really worrying side. I mean, I'm sure right in the moment Fenrir are kind of talking it through. They're playing it out together. Riv almost finds it. Lurky and it's Sprat and Fiverr right now here. Lurky will be the first one to get to it. The flick over the side. The pass after Zen, and that closes it just shy of the 3-minute mark. Direwolves with the composure.
Oh, Lurky, he pre-jumps it a little bit too early there. Fiverr just needs to drive it straight, and the second he sees Lurky commits, he knows, I got Zen across the middle. That's GG. We're going to game number 5.
We are Direwolves. Oh no. They are coming back with a steamroller-like effect. I mean, Fenrir had glimmers of hope there for a little bit before Direwolves just closed it out. Off, admittedly, like you say, a small mistake in that one overtime, but they held on so well. All of the players putting in so much work to keep that going, looking for opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. But at the end of the day, Direwolves coming out with that, like, with the win, right? That's all that matters. It doesn't matter if it's 5-6, it doesn't matter if it's 0-6, it doesn't matter what the scoreline is. At the end of the day, Direwolves take it. We have one game to decide it all now.
Yeah, we're going once again to a Game 5, our second Game 5 of this stream, and with the amount of overtimes we've had, it's turned into a long night. I'm not gonna lie, this is this has been a bit of a marathon, but you know what? Wouldn't have it any other way to kick off the RLO Masters in 2021. So a lot of fun. This is gonna be such a big game. It's gonna be a back and forther again. I really do feel that way. But for Team Fenrir, I mean, it looks as if the Direwolves have been able to adapt to their aggression and sort of match it and then overcome it a fair bit. 13 goals scored over the past 2 games from the Direwolves, and if they keep up this fast-paced tempo, if they keep putting these kind of numbers on the board, they're going to go to the finals.
And if Lurky doesn't step up as well, there might be a bit of a struggle here, because you saw Lurky had one off half of the shots taken from the team. It's like, you know, on the offense, obviously, not on the defense, but like, that's huge. Lurky needs to keep this pressure up, and I mean, if you do kind of stop a player like that And, like, don't get me wrong, Riv and Sprat, absolutely huge. Sprat's defensive plays, the demos, everything working so well. But you can't put all that pressure on one player, right? That worries me a little bit, that if that's their win condition, it's not consistent enough. They have to be playing, like, really re-engage that team play they had before. Lurky trying to go for this play. Decent offensive pressure coming in from both sides. They're both able to mount attacks, but none of them really holding onto the ball for too long.
Misty from underneath gets a nice tap forward. Sprat will be able to challenge it away. Ball gets to the backboard. Fiber's already there. That's a nice pinch. That was a very nice pinch. It goes the entire distance of the field right now, but Lurky actually has an avenue to dribble this. Misty does make the read, but here comes Riv over the top of Zen, who got enough of it to push it into the backboard, and Fiber actually misses the ball right there, so Riv will keep the attacking pressure for Fenrir. We're seeing bumps, we're seeing shots. Zen, how many crazy saves has he gotten this series? Because the answer is easily more than what you can count on one hand.
Yeah, that's it. Same with shots, to be fair. Like, Zen's just doing it all. Zen's playing fantastically. The entire... Misty stepped up in that third game win. Zen stepped up in that, like, game 4 win. And now, right at the moment, like what? Is it just going to be the Fiber show this time? It's like, again, it's not like Fiber's been playing badly. It's just like, these individual players have been able just to show off, right?
Yeah. It's unusual that it isn't Fiber. Usually when it's someone on the Direwolves who is popping off and doing crazy things, Fiber is your usual culprit, but hasn't really been the case. It's been kind of the Misty and Zen show for the Direwolves during this comeback, and 2 minutes into this game, and we've seen so many high-scoring affairs between these two, and finally we're getting more of our defensive match where each team, they're still going for these individual plays. We haven't seen too many of the team play setups just yet in this game, and I feel like it's actually been a lot of the team play setups that has resulted in goals thus far. I'm kind of curious to see who will establish that first big passing play.
Yeah, and I felt like that was actually something which was really, which was being done really well by the side of Fenrir in their first series, but they have to re-engage that. Like I said, Sprat with a decent setup, but no one there to pick it up. Unusually, Lurky playing a little bit further back, but I mean, here we are, another opportunity, but again, no one there.
Riv was there. He was just a little too tight that time around, unfortunately for him. And the side of Fenrir, Misty's going to try and clear it up the field. Ball gets to the backboard, but Fiber's going to be able to cut it off. Riv with another nice touch. Ball off the ceiling. Lurky goes for the 50-50. He's able to get it to that sideline. Let's see what Riv can do. The answer is not too much. Sprat tries to play through the corner, but it's going to be caught by Fiber. Nearly 3 minutes into this game. Still no score. Zed's about to try and break that, but Riv makes the save.
Yeah, that's it. These chrome orange cars are looking fantastic. They're always in position. They are so hard to get past. They are just like holding down just about every part of the field when they need to right at the moment. It's not looking great for Fenrir in terms of those opportunities, but again, Fenrir, they're able to find things from what feels like nothing. A great attempt going in once again. Riv just keeps it out wide though for now, but you know that Direwolves are well able to remount an attack after one shot has failed. It's something I've really liked about them, as Misty is kind of blocking these shots coming in from the side of Fenrir. But Fenrir still have moves to make, still have plays to be made as well.
Yep.
They got to do it, you know, they got to do it. That's the problem.
Oh, if Fiber had a bit more power behind that, I'm not sure Lurky makes that save. Minute 22 left to play, a 0-0 game, and I'm getting flashbacks to our opening game back when it was, you know, Fenrir versus the Renegades, and it went to 0-0 overtime. Fenrir did wind up losing that one. I believe Sprat, though, has that net, or does he? Fiber from underneath doesn't stop Lurky. That job's going to be left for Misty. Too crazy. I think that was actually a squishy save coming from Misty right there, and they somehow survived that attack. They're turning into some offense of their own, but they won't be able to find that quick goal.
This is uncomfortably quiet right now, Formal. This has been, what? Literally no goals in the last 4 minutes. It doesn't feel right. Sprat's trying to change it with the help of Lurky, but once again, just flicked out this Direwolves line holding very well in defense. No! Sprat misses the drop down, though.
Oh, that
doesn't get it. Fiber's got to run.
That could have been it. Fiber gets past Riv, but is able to recover it. Now Sprat should be able to try and clear, but watch out for Zen's defensive effort. He actually misses it. Lurky is there, but he can't make contact on the ball, so Misty makes the relatively simple save. Now possession back into the Direwolves, and again, we're starting to see these individual efforts. It's these individual clears up the sidelines. Lurky doesn't get the second touch, although there's a demo, it doesn't turn into a goal. 10 seconds left to play in regulation. Next goal wins the series, goes to the grand final. Direwolves put on the shot, but with the demo and the save, Fenrir stops it for now. Another shot from Fiber, stopped by Riv. Lobbed all the way back to the orange side of the pitch. Lurky gets the touch through the corner, underneath. Riv is there, but so is Zen. Keeps the ball alive. Gets demoed. No, got the demo on Sprat, but it doesn't matter. Ball hits the ground. Game 5, overtime for the second time tonight.
Nerves of steel from the Fenrir side, but they've got to make sure that deep breath is taken and then immediately they re-engage. They've got a bit of an attacking opportunity right now, but they have to be so careful in their execution to not get punished, as we've seen happen before from the Direwolves. Zen's going to get a clear out and Misty's going to try and solidify that one. Took a fair bit of resources to get that one out of attack. Riv managed to get a demo into Fiverr as well, so that's going to help for a little bit, but they have to be careful. Like I say, they can't overextend. They can't make the same mistakes they've made in these overtimes before.
That's a good touch from Fiverr, but won't be able to contact with Zen, although that's a weaker touch by Riv. Opens the door for Zen initially. Lurky from underneath does what he can to buy time. Fiverr still keeping the attacking pressure moving for the Direwolves. Eventually, though, Sprat thinks he has to clear. Lurky's in an awkward spot, so it will be a weak touch, and with Riv not pushing forward, possession goes back to the Direwolves. Zen off the wall, but Riv from underneath will take it away. Gets the ball all the way to the corner. Misty will lob it up right now, and we see both teams just sort of trying to feel the other out, waiting for that chance to strike. It's going to be the reset from Misty. Sprat somehow gets the save.
Again, like everything which Direwolves is doing is so good. It should be going across the line, but again, the nerves are still coming in from Fenrir right at the moment. I mean, the Direwolves still have plenty of other opportunities. They've got so many other moves they can make, and they do feel a little bit more in control right at the moment. But there is still that matter of actually closing it out as well. Fiber coming in from the wide angle, taking the ball up high, trying to keep control of it as well, get it past the defender there, who was Lurky, I believe. In fact, it was. Sprat's going up. They can't get too overzealous and trying to push these attacks out. As Lurky once again bouncing it off the backboard, but still control from the Direwolves.
That was a banger of a shot off that backboard. Let's see what Riv can do. Has a lot of boost, uses a good chunk to maintain that possession. Couldn't connect with Sprat, however, on that shot, and that was a pretty big commit. It leaves Riv on his own, and Riv is beating Zen. Open net, and the Direwolves are going to the grand final.
Once again, bit of an overcommitment. 3 players up in the attack. They don't find the execution. It all comes down to one player who just couldn't quite find that last connection. Tragedy, of course, for Fenrir, but Direwolves pull it through. They may not be able to beat the Renegades, but they can beat their current for this tournament replacements. Direwolves, you said this is their chance, you said this is their shot, and they are taking it very seriously.
I also said they were the team most likely to get a reverse sweep, and here we are. Our first reverse sweep of the year. So we got our first upset, our first reverse sweep, 2 game 5s in a row, with game 5 overtime in this one. And just looking at these stats, I mean, 18 to 16 goals. It was a scoring fiesta. 49 to 48 shots. Sorry, 49 to 49 shots as it gets updated in front of our eyes. Equal shots, 1 goal difference between the two at the end of it all. That series was so close, so tight. But credit where credit is due. The Direwolves get their win. They bring it back. This is a momentum-based team, and now they've got that momentum as they get ready to take on Solicit in what's going to be our grand final.
Wild grand final. Very, like, I don't even know what to make of this one just yet. We had so many expectations coming into it. We knew how it was going to go. It's like 2021. It's going to be the same as the end of 2020, right? It's going to be, we know how it's going to go. We know the structure. We got the idea. Absolutely not. All thrown out the window, and I am so interested to see how this is going to go. I say excited all the time, and I think that, you know, seeing top teams clash, seeing the Clash of the Giants and all those things is great. But realistically, the ball is there. It's teed up for Direwolves to smack it out of the park and take themselves a really good win on this week of the RLO Masters. But, like, they still have one more challenge to go through who's, you know, I think you were saying is a bit, like, reformed a little bit of an unknown factor here.
I mean, I always underestimate Solicit. It's something that I always happen to do, and I need to learn my lesson, I feel like. I can't keep undervaluing this team because they get wins. That's going to be our matchup when we come back. But before we do, I want to quickly run it back. Remember at the start when I said I got spooked by something and I was going to come back to it later? We're going to experiment a little bit right now, so stick with me. I want to show you what's behind my computer monitor. It's a dark, black, horrible window, and you can kind of see outside, actually, because of the lighting. Pretty much a shadowy figure just, like, emerged from the shadows in the middle of the game and just started banging on my window. So I did what any normal person would do and opened it up, and he just handed me a bag of chips and then walked off. So that happened in the middle of our first game. Let's go. I over-exaggerate a little bit. The shadowy figure did turn out to be my roommate, but he was like kind of like hidden up, and I couldn't really tell who it was before he got on close. I digress. A funny little story. Doesn't have to do with anything. We're going to throw to a break, and when we come back, it's going to be our grand final. So stick with us. More Rocket League when we return.
Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go?
2021 is already proving to be so different to what we've seen in 2020. Not just, around the world where if people have been following, I'm not going to go into too much detail. It's already pretty crazy, yet I think the craziness that's happening overseas is being matched right here, right now in the RLO Masters. Trust me, it's a totally fair comparison what's going on because no of the big names, none of the big four and a half, I suppose. If you call the big five, Direwolves are here. Their opponent for this grand final is going to be the team that took out Ground Zero. It's Solicit.
Oh, yes, and we have had, of the 10 possible games we could have had on stream, you guessed it, we got 10, with a bunch of overtimes to boot, That last overtime point was one of the most stressful things I think I've endured in the last few weeks, which, to be fair, means I had a pretty cushy few weeks. But, geez, that was intense. And if we have a full 7 games here, I don't know if my heart can take it, honestly. I want to see it. I want to see it so badly. But I might just, be crying under the table by the end of from how stressful these games have been. But it's so cool. These upsets, everything, the whole 2021 being flipping RLO on its head, I'm so here for.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so much fun thus far, and honestly, I would not be surprised if this goes 7. In fact, if you had showed me these two teams were going to go up against each other, I would say, yeah, this is either a 5-game or a 7-game series. I feel that's completely viable, but what wasn't something to be predicted was how these teams got here as we take a look at this playoff bracket. The first thing to note, no Cringe Society, knocked out in the group stage. The second thing to note, Ground Zero and Renegades each taken out in 5 games in the quarterfinals. That led to sort of, 4 sort of surprise teams in the semifinals. You could argue that the Direwolves would be favored against Mind Freak because of the substitute situation, and that the tournament is now theirs to take. Well, in order to get to that grand final, they had to pull off a reverse sweep against a team Fenrir that had, knocked out the Renegades, and it was a tough fight for them, one of the highest scoring series I have ever seen, despite the grand final, the game 5 of that one being a 0-0 overtime. So we're going into this grand final, Fetch, and I have to ask you, who do you think takes this one and why?
After a performance like that, it is so hard to vote against Direwolves here. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where I think that, the upper side of the bracket had, they had the big names, but I think realistically, a lot of these upsets and things like that were damn, that's a big upset. But Renegades being knocked out, the team who beat Renegades being knocked out, that is big stuff. And I think that that's really, really impressive. So while Solicit have made some fantastic moves through the bracket, I really do think Direwolves coming up and being able to take out Mind Freak, admittedly, like you said, slightly, not the full strength roster, but knocking out Mind Freak, knocking out the team who knocked out Renegades, all of these sort of things, it's big, it's a big deal. Compare that with it taking out Ground Zero. Sure, that's still absolutely huge. And to be fair, Solicit did that themselves, and that's the edge I give them. But I really do think with the performance and the momentum behind them, like you kind of hear that before, Direwolves have this.
I mean, look, you know what it comes down for me? Because I'm going to agree with you, I'm going to pick Direwolves, but for a very different reason. Direwolves just beat Fenrir, right? Those are each dog logo themed teams. Solicit is another dog logo themed team, and unfortunately for Solicit, they don't have experience against the other dog logo themed teams. So Direwolves are coming in, they're already feeling like the alpha of sort of the 4 dogs, because you got to throw Vertex in there as well. They still exist, even though they didn't make quarterfinals. It's another dog v dog match. I can't make the same puns as last time as much as I want to. Either way, I do think Direwolves do take this. I think this, again, as I said before, this is their tournament to lose. And now that they've got their momentum after that reverse sweep, I feel like this is going to be a tough team to beat. And you have to remember, that game 3, 7 goals scored. That game 4, 6 goals scored. If they get that same tempo going against Solicit, I feel like they take this home.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. I mean, but like you say that, but it's not. It seems like they can lose. They clearly just lost out on 2 games. Then we're like, we win now, I guess. We win. Yeah, we win. Sounds good. Each of them kind of went, this will be my game to win. This will be your game to win after that. Like if we each win 1 game, that'll be like 3 games won and we win, right? Yeah, that sounds great. So like, even if the momentum does pull against them, they still have such a strong threat to pull it back. And I think that extra level of kind of possibility coming into it is terrifying. And that's what I think maybe also like gives them a bit of an edge in that.
That said, though, I mean, Solicit, I'm going to be quite frank. I've somehow avoided a lot of their games before when casting last year, so not too familiar with their style, but I am pretty familiar with their players. They are all bangers of players, and they have built this rapport, this synergy that has obviously taken them to situations like this. They're a constant top 8 in RLCSX. They're constantly fighting, and I mean, Tango is still considered highly regarded one of the best ones player within the region. Vortex as well. I've seen him get shots from absolute crazy angles. And Snowy is one of the fastest players in the region. So it's not going to be that cakewalk for the Direwolves. The Direwolves have almost been the gatekeepers, I feel like, in sort of keeping teams like Solistic, Canberra, Havoc out of getting into that sort of top 5 area. They're going to have to do that again to start off 2021. And you can't help but feel, the winds of change maybe in the air with some of the results we've seen today. This is just as much Solicit's best chance to take one of these events as it is for the Direwolves.
Oh yeah, that's it. With the top 4 knocked out, it is a really good opportunity. I think the fact that we were kind of talking about, is the fact that Direwolves have been scratching at that so much, trying to get into that kind of top echelon and finally really take a dominant kind of week for themselves. But I do kind of agree with your point, and I think I might have been wrong in this, but you kind of hinted at the fact that Solicit might have been junior Direwolves when we first got into it. Cause kind of ran through the teams, and you were kind of like, Solicit, they like being showy, they like being flashy. If they take a series, it's going to be in style. So maybe we have another big flashy game as well. I don't want to we could just have like super fundamental rotational Rocket League, and that'd be cool. I kind of like that, but I'm a bit worried that we might see the big show shots and everything like that.
I think you actually got a little bit. It was Forbidden. I said was the team.
Forbidden. Okay, it was Forbidden.
So
that's what I was going to ask. Okay.
It was not Direwolves, but this is actually kind of relevant because Forbidden lost to Solicit 3-1. And that makes me interested. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are still great mechanical players. Again, Tango is going to be one to watch if you want to see mech stuff come from the Solicit side. Whether or not they pull it off in this showdown, well, that's still yet to be seen. Obviously, we're still getting ready to get this one going in Twitch chat. I'm now looking directly at you right now. I'm curious who you think is going to take this matchup. Will it be Solicit? Will it be the Direwolves? Again, we've seen the Direwolves already take out Fenrir. That's one dog team down. But as I take a look at those logos, maybe Solicit is more of a werewolf because it does look like you've got that moonlight sigil in the background. Maybe that gives them the power. Or maybe you want to judge these teams based on the players and the merit and their skills as a team as a whole. I think that's less fun, but I'm curious, who do you guys think is actually going to take this?
I actually would like to make a little point here. Sorry to add in the silly whatever analysis. I actually think that a lot of Direwolves' real openings in those games were mistakes from Fenrir, right? And you can say whatever you want about those mistakes, but there are a few opportunities there where in overtimes and things like that, Fenrir kind of dropped the ball a little bit. They were we're going to close the game out now, we're going to lose it. And then they lost it. It's oh, okay. I do wonder if that's going to be something which Solicit don't do as much. And that might be the edge which Direwolves had kind of falling to the wayside a little bit. I mean, I'm sure they can beat you with pretty much without you giving them the advantage. They don't need you to give them the game. But a little bit extra boost and some of those mistakes which were being punished from Fenrir, maybe that doesn't happen as much with Solicit. And that's something I'm wondering about. That's something which I think could be a bit of a difference.
I think you're absolutely correct, actually, with that point of analysis, because, and it wasn't just against the Direwolves, but it was against the Renegades as well. Sometimes Fenrir would put themselves in positions where they would push 3 players forward and then get immediately punished in the counterattack. That happened multiple times. I feel like Solicit, they're not a team to make that similar mistake. They aren't that flashy showy team. They are a bit more reserved. You will see them go for deeper rotations and try to shut down more of those individual plays. And that's why with the Direwolves, I'm going to be looking to see them establish more of the passing play. In the matchup against Fenrir, when Direwolves started to find their success, yes, it was capitalizing on mistakes, but it was also solo plays capitalizing on mistakes in order to set everything up. Solicit, with deeper rotations, won't allow as many of those solo plays to be set up. The Direwolves are going to have to be a little bit more creative, I predict, in trying to set up their own attacks. Now, it is a best-of-7 fetch, so there's time for adaptation, reactions, and re-reactions throughout the series as a whole. It's the first of 4 wins who takes this tournament, and we're already on the pitch.
We are well on the pitch right at the moment. No sneaky early plays coming out just yet from the Direwolves. I mean, Vortex getting a bit of an opening here. Snowy keeping the ball active, but not really getting that incredibly fast aggression, which we've seen from pretty much every team we've seen on the screen on stream so far. And sorry, I just lost my tongue for a second there as Misty just finds the goal.
All right. So first of all, amazing play by Misty. I mean, great air dribble, gets it past Vortex, and then gets the dunk onto Tango. Absolutely bonkers. But you want to know why the reason that is? It's because of the skin Vortex is using right now. I'm sorry, but if you're going to rep the New York Jets, you are just asking for failure, all right? You couldn't even secure the #1 seed. That team was bad at being bad, and now I worry for the sake of Felicity.
Okay, well, we can see. I know who you've marked down as the narrative villain in this one, but at least it's Snowy who gets that goal, so it's all right for now. Honestly, that one went a little bit above my head. I pride myself on sports knowledge, but I think you went a bit above my head on that one.
Gridiron, it's okay.
No, okay, I have been trying to watch the American football, but the problem is it requires its own subscription. I can't just log into
I know
a regular sports
I'll hook you up afterwards. I know websites.
Oh, yes,
okay.
Please do.
But no, pretty much TLDR, and I'm just going to quickly go over this. The Jets, they lost 13 games in a row and then accidentally won game. Speaking of which, Solicit, they put on 3 goals right now. We got to get back on track because this is actually turning into another score fest in front of our eyes.
And it's 2 from Snowy as well. And that one was off a kickoff too. That's something Direwolves have been kind of threatening a little bit. So, maybe they might have to kind of slow it down a little bit here. I do like the fact that we've seen some push forward, some aggression coming in, a little bit more metered, it feels like. I mean, I'd like to see how the rest of the game goes. We've literally seen 1 minute and 30 seconds of play so far. So, I don't know how much I can really pull from that one. But, Snowy doing a good job of being in the right position. The team's setting up fantastically, and so far it's working pretty well.
See what Vortex is going to be able to set up right now. Tries to get a bit of a dribble, able to get it over 1 defender, but we'll be able to go over the next 5 now with control. Double commit coming from Solicit, yet they still find Vortex, who gets it to the backboard, but won't turn it into another shot. Tango now starting to look to rotate back, but the ball still winds up over his head. Snowy now tries to play off that wall, pass back across the box. That's a big bump, but Snowy is still able to follow it through. And control for Solicit until they find the opening. Snowy, you feel like he hits that? Yes, he does. 3-1 lead for Solicit.
Oh yeah, the 80s theme on the car of Snowy is doing quite well now. 3 goals going that way. Of course, like I say, the setup's been huge from the rest of the team. 2 to Tango, 1 to Vortex. But it's Snowy putting over the line, and that stat line looking quite good with the 3 goals from 4 shots. You gotta feel pretty comfortable with that one. But a 3-1 lead is the bigger picture here, is leading quite close to the halfway mark of Game 1. Direwolves, if they get momentum, they are devastating in terms of putting people away right at the moment. They have the power from the last series, but right at the moment, they're not looking quite as good. It's trying to adjust to a new, completely different opponent, I guess.
Absolutely, as we see Vortex gets a nice 50. Zen's able to catch it underneath, but Tango still went out in the next play, and this is scary. Tango with space to work with. Won't be able to find too much right there. It's going to be forced to rotate back. Vortex goes up, back, lobbed across the middle. Snowy gets the touch. It's off the backboard. Tango so far back, won't be able to turn it into a shot in time.
Yeah, that's exactly it right now. I mean, the fact they're still back on the aggression is pretty good for them. Being able to hold this lead as long as they can. 2 minutes left right now. Dial's trying to find a bit more of an opening. Bit of a whiff there coming out from Misty. Found the easiest shots in that situation. Viber tries to carry it up as well. Vortex getting a clear out. 3 players sitting in the defense. They know full well what they have to do to try and take this series. As Tango tries to slam it down the field.
Misty from underneath gets shut down by Vortex. Zen still trying to fall back, but Fiber gets to the ball first. Will be shut down midfield by Tango. And it's interesting to me, and we are starting to see those deeper rotations to play. We've seen it a lot more actually once we saw that established lead. Tango, when he is actually playing third man, he's playing further back than any other third man we've seen so far tonight just because of the teams we've seen on display. And it's working. Direwolves haven't been able to get it past the middle of the pitch because even though it may have cost Solicit a couple scoring attempts, nothing has gotten past Tango yet at all when he's the furthest one back. And for a team that's still relying on individual plays, I think it might take a little while for the Direwolves to start to adjust, although we're starting to see a little bit more of it now. That was a pass set up for Zen, yet with that miss from Fiber, I do expect Solicit to get control right back.
Yeah, that's it. Looks like they have kind of at least got some control in this play. They still have to, they still have to put it in the right position. Zen just interrupts that one, goes up high to try and counteract the play from Snowy and gets the pass back to the teammate. But here it is, Tango going for this shot, or at least keeping it out wide. Two players on the strike here. As Zen actually is the one who gets it. Has to put it past Vortex, managed to do quite well, but the rotations come back in defense. Again, I mean, Solicit seemed pretty happy playing a kind of very comfortable defensive style, I think. Not getting as aggressive as our previous teams. We've kind of talked about a few times now. But yeah, Fiber trying to make a clearance out and trying to get the Direwolves back in that scoring position. Doesn't quite work out there, but the ball is in no man's land, just getting picked up by Snowy.
So if the Direwolves are going to continue with sort of like these more solo approaches, like going along the corridors, I want to see tighter spacing from them. I want to see them capitalize in case you see that first touch. Because so far what we've been seeing is they make the first defender miss, but then they'll run into troubles with the second defender. But unfortunately, the next player, well, that time they were too far forward, actually, and they missed completely. So, they've got to find that sweet spot is what I should be trying to say. Because if they hit that sweet spot, then it doesn't matter if that second defender makes that stop. They'll be able to be the next player to the ball, and that's where you're going to start to see the goals start coming through. As it stands, Solicit is going to take game one quite comfortably. I still think that's the wrong green team being repped by Vortex, but I can't argue with results. Solicit takes game one.
That's fair, that's fair. They also have the TSM like player card as well, which is like, in the esports scene, that's asking for trouble, right? Like, you are asking for people to give you flack. It seems like Solicit really want to be playing the, not like the villain, like, okay, a lot of people hate it when you call a team a villain, right? Yeah. But like, in my perspective, it's not that they're actually bad people or evil people, but they're the people who like kind of riling people up and having a bit of a cheer against us, see if I can't win.
The Jets are not that team. If
No,
they were
I
going to
know,
go
I know.
route,
I mean Solicit. Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I just like making fun of bad teams. But neither of these teams are bad. In fact, each of them are quite good. And that first game went a little bit more actually of what I figured could have been one of the scenarios, with Solicit playing further back and trying to force the Direwolves to come to them and then finding their counterattack opportunities and striking henceforth. Similarly, when Solicit was actually on the attack, Direwolves didn't look as fast as they had in that previous game. I don't know, they seemed not quite there yet, but they did have a slow start in that semifinal, so we're definitely not writing them off. Still, Solicit, if they continue to control the tempo of the game like they did in that first game, well, I think they might actually have this finals. I mean, they're definitely going to keep that momentum for as long as they can.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, knowing how well Direwolves can pull it back, I mean, of course, they didn't sit and watch the series like we did. I think they got to see a fair bit of it because their series ended pretty early. But like, not being able to watch that full series in the same way as we did, maybe they don't have this thought in the back of their mind, but knowing that if you give Direwolves an inch, they take a mile, to use the old saying, has to kind of play on you in terms of you really want to, the second you get an advantage, you want to hammer it home, you don't want to let up on it. You want to play the Direwolf style, essentially. That's got to be, it's got to be the mind of this team right there, as Snowy goes for another one early, doesn't quite find that connection, and maybe if they don't find that same lead, they have a bit more trouble putting Direwolves away.
Did you see Misty try to clear the ball across the middle of the field? Actually, it's a good setup for Zen, and that's going to be the first goal for the Direwolves in this second game. They make it look so easy sometimes.
Oh, they do. They just do, right? Like, it's things like that, which they're just able to pull out. Zen getting a bit of momentum. But this is kind of the point I was trying to make before I was stumbling a little bit over my words, is the fact that, like, it wasn't a hugely, like, close game last game, right? But there were plenty of situations where you thought maybe Direwolves make the comeback there. And I think that, like, if they start off with a lead into this game, just like if they start off into a lead of a series, they are that much more dangerous, and you really, really, really want to see Solicit try and close that out now as Zen's going up high, getting dangerous again, goes for a double touch, just clicked out very nicely by Snowy. And Tango trying to march up the field now and getting a demo as well for their troubles.
Again, forgive me if I get the lingo wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what the squishy save. I think that's what that one was called again. That was so nice by Snowy right there. And again, if I got that wrong, I apologize, but I'm like 90% sure I got that right. Either way, that was huge, and maybe that will give it a little bit of that bump right now. Oh, good dodge from Missy. He avoids the demo. Tango, though, sort of fakes that challenge. And Fiverr open net. That's going to go in. So Lizard trying to get a little too tricky with the play, I feel like, and immediately there to punish is the Direwolves.
Yeah, definitely a great setup on that one. Huge congratulations, Fiverr. Just like, again, finding the back of the net. Good job. But like, yeah, it is the Direwolves, and I think it's to a point that like the pressure the Direwolves apply to you, making you play up to this incredibly high level. And if you do make mistakes, which a lot of teams will at this kind of, you know, under this kind of pressure, then like that's it. They're there. They're ready to kind of put the ball across. And Fiverr gets a fantastic double touch off the top. The play had barely started there. It's not a kickoff goal because the game had kind of reset. But off the crossbar, Fiverr just puts it in the back, and yeah, no one there to save that one off the top or otherwise.
It's like a double touch pancake. So you kind of take the pancake and you smash it twice, and then you get yourself a 3-0 lead. That's where the Direwolves are sitting right now, and they're doing all right in this one. Somehow don't get the batter everywhere, and this is more the Direwolves momentum that I was expecting to see in game number 1. Like, they're feeling more confident now, they're taking more shots, and they're also getting some situations almost given for them. Yes, that double touch was impressive, but you also have to ask, you know, why wasn't anyone there to disrupt it right now? Solicit, who were so good defensively in that first game, they need to start calming back now, and they got to stop the bleeding. This is a good start.
Yeah, I think Misty had plenty of time on that shot, but was kind of expecting something to go a bit deeper, and so held off on that defensive play just a little bit, and therefore was just behind the play, right? Like, I think was out wide, maybe getting a boost or something like that, but it was a bit of a mistake there from the Direwolves. At the end of the day, Solicit finding one back isn't the end of the world right here. They still have half a game to try and pull these two back, especially with Direwolves pick up the tempo a little bit. It's got to feel pretty good for them. A bounce off the backboard. Is Zen there? Yes, they are. Very, very nice. Once again, fantastic setup from Misty, though.
This is why I'm feeling like tonight's going to be a long night. It's plays like this. The Direwolves, like, once they start scoring, it's just goal, 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 goal. You cannot stop this avalanche of points that they bring down, and I still feel like the series has that potential to go the distance, to go the 7, and the Direwolves are definitely responding to that game 1 loss. Put another one on the board. Fiverr's there. 5-1 lead, and we're only just over halfway through game number 2.
Yes, absolutely we are, and this game has lasted a very long time with all of the like replays we've watched of just pretty fantastic Direwolves games. It's only halfway through as well. It only just crossed the halfway mark. But I mean, Direwolves looking to just keep scoring and keep scoring. I kind of said it in the last series. The best defense is like an 0-20 lead. And I mean, hey, maybe Direwolves is going to make that happen, right?
I love situations like that. The best offense is a good defense, and the best defense is a good offense. 6-1, by the way, as Misty puts another one in, and that was a nice little spike off the ground. 1 goal away from the infamous Brazil scoreline.
Oh, that's true. They stopped scoring at that point. Is that do they want to make it happen, or are they going to do it? They're going to be like, no, bigger goal buffer. We've got to make it happen, guys.
They want to get to double digits. They want to keep scoring. As Tango, though, might respond. Nearly broke the Brazil dreams, yet the ball will bounce off the crossbar. Snowy puts another one on target. Vortex can't quite follow it through to put it in. And a very aggressive kickoff for Solicit, but it doesn't turn into any points just yet.
Would be interesting if the answer to Direwolves ended up being more aggression, because I think that's probably the one thing I wouldn't expect to take from this game. You know, like given everything we set up for the first couple of series. I'd honestly be a bit surprised by that one, but Solicit's trying it. They're having a bit of success here, really putting Direwolves onto the back foot right at the moment, but Misty managed to find a bit of an opening here. Snowy once again playing through, not able to find as many goals as they did in the first half. Bit of a, I don't quite see for that one from the cut as we cut to it, but it was a bit of an unusual play there from the Direwolves. They're still holding pretty strong in defense at the moment, though.
Yes, they are, although with that bump from Zen, it does look as if the Direwolves will stop this attack, although Misty with the slow play. Won't get too much. Minute 7 remaining, 5-goal lead. I think it's safe to say the Direwolves are probably going to walk away with this one with the lead. Still Tango. He's going to put another goal on the board. And I mean, that was a very nice setup and angle.
That's very true. Vortex finds a really good play past Zen. Able to get to the other corner. Like, there's kind of the bottom is being defended. The left-hand half of the goal is being defended. So the top right corner's open. Good logic. I like it.
Yep. Yeah, he put it in that perfect spot. Something that only the best players can do. And I mean, these are 2 top 8 teams. Like, these are 2 strong teams. There might not have been who we were expecting in the final, but you can't discount them. And if Vortex put that shot in, or if Snowy was able to get it past Misty, this game could have gotten interesting again, but instead the defense will hold through, and Fiber will be able to get the ball all the way back to that blue side. Time working against Solicit, and 4 goals in 40 seconds. Well, unless they get that one, I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, I don't think it's happening at all. I mean, maybe Zen finds something special off this. Kind of gets the pass to Fiber, but it's a bit awkward in terms of how it's placed. Here we go, over to Misty. There's the 3rd player involved in the play, and Misty actually maybe forced it past them. Kind of jukes out 2 defenders, but just puts it out wide. It's not like where you want the ball to be, but I guess, hey, you beat 2 defenders. That's worth something.
Sometimes it would be. I mean, Tango will turn it into a goal, so, you know, a nice little consolation prize. 2nd goal in this one for Tango. Something maybe to build into that next game. I mean, if you look at the positioning from where the Direwolves were and sort of how that play was set up, you can tell it feels like the gas has been eased up a little bit. Everyone was just pushed so far forward and needlessly so, but that's what happens when you've kind of already got that game locked up. Looking into game 3 right now, what sort of adjustments do you want to see?
God, I don't know. That's a very hard question for me in this one. I mean, I think the problem is the last, 2 minutes have just broken any analytical ability I have, because it's just the Direwolves are just like, what if we triple commit here? Let's go, everyone up the attacking line, and then it, almost works, and then Solicit just, kind of roll the ball in from the other side. It's like, well, I don't want that. I don't want cockiness, from either side. That's bad. I think that, Solicit still looked pretty good in some of those plays, but it just kind of looked like Direwolves are stepping up, and I honestly don't really know what's gonna come through here. And every time I've suggested a team has to do something, the opposite kind of comes through. One thing I will say though is that Solicit looked like when they were getting aggressive, they looked pretty good. They looked like they had Direwolves in the back foot, not just because Direwolves were overcommitting, which they were doing a little bit, but also because they were engineering pretty good opportunities for themselves. Getting Snowy up and getting Snowy in that aggressive position where they can kind of find these capitalizations and punishes and things. That's going to be a good start, right?
For me, I think a big thing, honestly, that I noticed throughout that series, though, it felt like Solicit started to make more unforced errors than what they had in game number 1. They also had a slightly different approach. I feel like they were pressed a little bit further forward than they were in game number 1 as well. And I wonder if that was a symptom of giving up that first goal. I almost feel like as if they play as if they have a lead, they might find more success, because when they were playing more conservative, when they were keeping players super far back, they were able to sort of actually keep the Direwolves on the back foot as well. They shut down those individual plays. However, with those passes from Misty to Zen like that, you could run a risk if that one player who is super far back does miss. So this is where that chess game comes into play. This is where the best of 7 mind games start to become a thing. Good pass to Fiber. He's going to slow play it, but Tango does enough to make the save.
I mean, it's like shotgun chess, the way they were playing it there. There's demos everywhere, lots of explosions, but yes. Other than that, it is a chess game. No capitalizations off those demos, though. I mean, Direwolves just really trying to put any kind of pressure they can on right at the moment. Really holding their offensive line quite well. I'm a big fan of it. Misty puts the ball up. Fiber drops it down. Still going to take one more hit to connect that one. Isn't there. Misty's reset for a bit of defensive play. Is able to kind of put it on target, but realistically, it's just Direwolves' pressure right at the moment. Oh, Misty, that would have been fantastic if you found that one, but I think that's it. I think the attack has flipped, and I think we're going to see a reset on the play for a second here.
Or the ball's just going to get jammed up on the wall, and no one's really going to be able to make any solid progress until you see a crazy pinch 50 that goes across the field. Either way, Zen has the reset right now. Can he use it for a goal? He gets the pinch, but Tango from underneath makes the save. Fiber won't be able to push it through either, and again, these very bizarre attacks coming from the Direwolves right now. Misty should be able to just dribble this one all the way to the net. Tango gets that save, and Solicit, they're being forced so much on their back foot right now. They look comfortable here, but you want to see them turn it around into an attack at some stage.
That's it. I mean, if you think that they've been making some mistakes and things like that, even some mechanical mistakes, kind of slowing the game down a little bit and playing more defensively, kind of being in your comfort zone, isn't, in my opinion, a bad way to do it, but it does give Direwolves eventually opportunities like that. So I think, in essence, there is some logic behind it, but you can't give Direwolves this much space.
No, eventually, someone would have to make that motion. It looked like Snowy really wanted to be that solo player to drive it forward up that corridor, and I'm not saying that's his fault at all, actually. If he does get that touch, he gets that clear. It was just the Direwolves were a little bit too fast in setting up that play, and they turned it into a goal. That was essentially, Fetch, like a 2-minute long attack, and now Vortex nearly is able to answer back, but the shot was a little bit high.
Yeah, I mean, it's only one goal at least. Like, I guess that's the other advantage of playing defensively is you're not going to get a 6-goal deficit or anything like that. Right now, Tango's running it up, doing a good job of it as well. Fiber's hot in the heels, but Tango still holds possession of this one right at the moment. Fiber gets demolished, but the ball does go back to the defensive half of the side of Solicit right at the moment. So, hey,
Yeah,
kind of working out for Direwolves. Sorry.
Things are looking good. Things are looking good for the Direwolves right now. I mean, they only needed one game to really just take everything away from Fenrir and their near miracle run. Now the Direwolves, they take one game on Solicit, and well, they haven't given up a lead since. As whoa, odd pogo bounce from Misty right there. Lost complete control of the car, and that leaves Tango with an opening, gets the reset and the goal. We're tied once again at one apiece.
There we go. Those that first 2-minute attack you were talking about, completely nullified by a great pickup from Tangos to pull that one through the field, through the air, and beat out a couple of the defenders. So back to an even game, 2 minutes in right at the moment. Remember, the series score is currently 1-1 in our full best of 7, and Vortex kind of outplaying the defenders solo here. I mean, a good pass out wide from Zen just kind of keep the play alive, but pressure now from Solicit, right? Like, they're doing so well to keep this attack going.
Was that, would you call that last one, a fake reset? Because he had the flip reset, but he did make contact with the ball. I don't know what to actually call that. What I call that, though, is a strike from Vortex. Good save by Fiber. As Tango tries to play off the roof, knowing they're underneath, then should be able to clear it back across the middle. Snowy does enough to slow down the attack, but Missy will be that next one there. Lobbing it up high, but no one's behind him, so you would expect the defense to clear it, but Vortex doesn't get a clean touch. Now he's going to have to try and play forward. Fiber with a nice interception. Able to throw it back down to Zen, who finds Missy. The passing plays from the Direwolves are in full effect. Here comes the shot. Not enough power, though, to get behind Tango.
Yeah, not quite enough just yet. Score still sitting at 1-1 right now. Tango finds the back of the net once again off the pass, and I think we've seen Direwolves kind of lose to this one a couple of times now. Snowy, great setup here. I wanted to see this player step up a little bit into this game, and there we are. Even if not being the scoring player in in the attacking D, it's only attacking D, right? It's the attacking square, the goal box, whatever you want to call it. But at least finding those really, really good setups, and now a 2-1 lead right now as Direwolves kind of a little bit slow here.
Snowy gonna throw it into the corner, but Fibro's already there waiting, willing. Zen with a chance to spike it down, doesn't get the goal, it hits the crossbar, and Fiber misses! Oh, he wants that one back. You know he wants that one back.
Oh, absolutely. I have no idea how someone didn't find a connection of that. 3 players up. I mean, no punish coming in there as Misty does manage to find a demo onto the defense, but, nothing quite going to happen from that other than buying a little bit of time for themselves to step up. But a couple of whiffs, and Zen has to pull that one through, but does so as Direwolves looking to set up an attack here. Misty tries to get a touch, but perfect clearance out from Tango, gets demolished once again.
I kind of wish when I whiff balls like that, my teammate behind me would be able to pass it forward to me like the Direwolves consistently seem to. It makes every sort of whiff, was it a whiff, was it a fake? You don't really know. And again, I'd say time and time again, following through on your attacks, it creates opportunities. And the Direwolves very strong on doing that, but it might not be enough to take this game. Tango looking to ice this one with 4 seconds to go. Takes it straight down the middle, and with a 3-1 lead, Solicit are going to go up 2-1 in the series.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, I don't think that there was it would have had to be a big play coming out of Direwolves to pull that one back. So that last goal, maybe not as impactful as other goals can be. I mean, if you see a kickoff goal here, then yeah, sure it was. But the difference between a 3-1 and a 2-1, not huge. I don't think we saw Direwolves scoring off that one. Ball's going to find the ground almost certainly. But no matter how it goes, this is a 2-1 lead looking right now for Solicit over Direwolves. Just guaranteed, right? That's just it. They're trying to keep it alive, Direwolves, to try and get something back, but it's just going to get grounded by Vortex. And there we are, Solicit taking a lead up. So Direwolves not able to put that, put that pressure straight on and completely sweep the series from here. They do have a bit of a fight back to kind of, from Solicit. I don't know where I was going with that one, but I got there eventually, I think.
I think a big thing to take away, though, from that game was the attacking pressure that Solicit had in comparison to the Direwolves. I mean, it's interesting. The Direwolves controlled, it felt like, the pace of that game. They were dominant for easily 4 of the 5 minutes. But it was something that you sort of brought up in between those games. You wanted to see Solicit take better advantage of the situations that they had. Well, they were clearly successful in doing that. A 50% shot percentage for the team as a whole, but that's only because Vortex never scored. Tango was 3 for 3 in that affair. And if Tango's starting to wake up, I highlighted him as that player to watch. He is going to be the one who needs to step up if Solicit is going to win this series. He did that in spades, especially during the final minutes of that game. So momentum back in Solicit's favor. However, that back and forth field, the Direwolves, you almost expect them now to answer back and turn this series into a 2-2 affair.
Yeah, I think you do right now. I mean, unless Solicit keeps this kind of play up, I do think there was a bit of slow play, like not slow play, but like weird decisions from Direwolves a few times on the defense. And I mean, it's very, very hard to play at this level and be able to make those snap decisions and calls and things like that, especially when you have 3 players and you're all trying to work as one unit. But that's something for them to improve in this game. And if they take it, they're going to feel at least a little bit better. 2-1 is the score, best of 7 series, and here we go. Tango straight back on the attack. 6 saves last game, 3 from 3 on the attack, like you identified, Max. But, you know, still has to try and make something impressive happen in this one. Vortex back on the defense, going to try and clear it out. Fiber and Misty trying to have to try and defend this one from Tango once again, but pressure back on as they clear the ball out quite successfully this time.
As you do see Tango, going to look for that clear across midfield right now, but his force of chasing of himself gets caught up in a defender, and that'll leave momentum back to the Direwolves. Fiber pulling out his own NFL team now, might I add. I'm just going to quickly point out, hey, he has the Atlanta Falcons, and another team I'm not sure you really want to represent is the team famous for choking guaranteed win games. Again, I don't want to be too critical of the team selection seeing right now.
In Australia, we call those the Bombers.
It's
wait,
the
no,
same
that's
color.
Seasons, sorry.
I was about to say, it's the same color as the Bombers, so that would make sense. Either way, though, we are going to see that clear across midfield. Fiber there to shut it down, but Snowy will eventually lob it up, gets to that opposite backboard. I love the NFL skins. I'm always going to love them. I'm sorry. That's just going to be an Achilles heel for me, I think, all year long.
I'm honestly, that's one of the things I think which like US sports culture has all over like Australian sport culture is like I'm gonna get like destroyed for this on Twitter, I'm sure, but like I would trade any form of rugby for NFL, honestly.
Ooh.
Great game, big fan of it. Just don't get rugby as much.
Okay, I'm not. You know what?
You're not gonna get involved? That's fine. No, I will take this fight. I will, as like, okay. Also, diehard AFL fans, so like, realistically, whatever. I don't care. But like, you know, that's all right. I'll fight that fight myself. Just like these two teams are fighting it out. What a segue fetch. Let's go.
Yeah, let's segue it up. Tango going up, trying to beat out a defender. Won't find much. And Snowy is able to clear it down the field. Look, the correct answer is Rocket League should replace all, right? Zen gonna lob it across midfield. Fiber with that catch, trying to pass it down to someone underneath. Zen has a chance, but instead keeps it lobbed up in the air. Snowy will eventually take it away off that backboard. Misty now pushing it forward. Too many defenders in the way, though, and Vortex will throw things down in the corner.
Here we go. Vortex going to try and make the run. Has to get past Zen as well. Bit of a collision there, and we're seeing, yeah, like a lower scoring game here. Not as much kind of being immediately put out there. Last time this happened, from memory, Direwolves made a pretty good go of it. Tango trying to bounce it off the corner. Great setup, but Fiber is there. Snowy can't find that angle. Can't keep it going, so here we go. 2-on-1 in that little corner there. Fiber's the one who ends up winning it, oddly enough. But it does get cleared out, at least for now. So Direwolf, they can mount a structured attack. Maybe they'll be in a better position, but Vortex says no to that one and might say yes to a team goal here. It's got to be Snowy who puts it across, but this time it's not going to happen.
You can't help but hold your breath whenever a player like Tango gets up with the ball in those types of situations. Defense able to hold on right now, and you're starting to feel that pressure mount. Yes, this series is still close at this stage, but this is not a game that the Direwolves can afford to lose. And just like in the semifinal, when the pressure starts to build, it's Misty who is stepping up on this evening. Great double touch for the 1-0 lead.
Absolutely fantastic stuff there from Misty, and sometimes you do just need a single player to lift you. We've seen that kind of been true for the Direwolves, and if Misty's going to be the first one to start that, that's a great sign for them. They don't want to, you know, rest on a 1-goal lead or anything like that. Fiber passed it out wide. I think last time they had this sort of lead, that was the great game where we were potentially threatening double digits. But they've got to make sure they hold on to it, right? Misty's up in the air once again, has another potential. The defenders are back, though, so it's a heck of a duel right here, and Vortex going to get clearance out.
If they get double digits in a minute and a half, I will be shocked. At this stage right now, though, they're still looking for that second goal that would most likely put this one away. Snowy had a chance to go straight down the middle. Instead, it's Tango. Snowy gets the bump. This is the goal. He gets in Zen's way, but can't finish the deal. Bouncing the ball off the crossbar. I don't know if the Wizards going to get another chance like that. Vortex still putting in shots. Snowy with the fall through, 2 defenders in the way. It's Den who gets credit with the save.
Yeah, that's it. Fiber was looking a little bit risky, a bit of a risky position right there, but knows exactly what to do to drop out of the way and give the rest of the team enough space to clear that one out. 1 minute left. Direwolves looking hungry, looking to the attack. Tango doesn't want to even kind of give them the opportunity, give them the space. His Vortex interrupting it. Remember that they have to take at least 1 goal to force an overtime here. It would be yet another overtime, and Tango's the one who finds it in all the chaos, straight through the air like a dart.
Watching this one again. Misty stuck in no man's land, lost position of where Tango was on the field, and able to go straight down the middle, drive that one through. Tie game with 39 seconds to go. And I still kind of consider this must win for Direwolf. You don't want to be put in another equivalent of the win 3 games in a row situation, yet that's what they'll be if they can't find another goal. I think we might be going to overtime unless Tango can do something here. Goes for the bump, but cannot connect on the mid.
That's it. I mean, with the aggressive scoring we've seen from some of these teams, I don't even want to call it next goal wins, but I think that's, it's one of my favorite casting sort of casting lines. I'm glad you introduced me to it. But right now, it's looking stressful. It looks like we might have a bit of an overtime. Direwolves the only ones with any agency over at Zen, taking in a good knock onto Snowy right there. Fiber still not giving this one up. It was an attempt at the ground from this from Solicit, but they didn't quite find that timing. Eventually, it does happen. Here's an overtime for the 3rd game of our best of 7 grand final.
Yeah, of course, more overtime. So many overtimes tonight, but love to see it. That's a big demo. That's a mostly open net. Snowy gets there, misses it. It was a tough angle, but you've got to drill those in these types of situations. Tango with another chance, gets it under Misty, but cannot get it past Zen. And so Linton have had a few chances now with that net looking oh so open, but the shots just proving to be that little bit too difficult.
At least they're overcommitting. That's something you can say for them, but you're right. You really want to find those connections. Zen gets demoed here. A bit of a quick opening right now for Solicit. Not quite able to take advantage of it. Now Tango's the one who goes down, but again, Solicit is the one on the attack here. Zen with a bit of an uncomfortable touch as Snowy kind of drops it down, but no one there to really punish it as Fiber looks to get this clear pretty comfortably. Just dribbles it out, but can they find the teammates? Zen goes up for it as well, offers options, but just isn't passed to, and Fiber with a solid play might have cost them there as Tango puts it in.
Tango from underneath. Too many defenders start to cheat upwards, and the Direwolves give up yet another game. Misty and Zen each going high, and Tango able to keep it low. That was a fantastic and a very technical little goal right there. It's enough to put Solicit onto tournament point right now. They are 1 game away from taking our first event of the year.
Oh, I'm very tired, aren't I? I thought that was only our 3rd game. For our 4th, I am very sorry. I'm not very good.
Actually, are you right? Actually, I could be wrong right now. I'm tired as well.
Yeah, look, I mean, you've been doing even more casting. You've been running the gauntlet a little bit on this tournament, and it's been great to watch.
I am wrong.
All right.
Yeah, no, you're right. Why did I think it was? Oh no,
it's a first. Let's put it that way. It's a first.
I'm
but
sure.
2-1 right here. Solicit take it in the overtime. Fantastic job there. And yeah, like playing it off each other quite well as well. I mean, we saw Tango putting those goals on. Less like consistent goals from Tango, I think. A much better defensive setup from the Direwolves. They managed to find their own openings. That's got to be worth something.
Oh, it is 3-1. I was right.
All right. Form was a genius. That's okay.
So,
I'm all right with this.
I am right. The graphics are wrong. Why would you play with my mental? I've been casting right now for how long has this been? Like 5 hours straight.
Oh
and
my
people
God.
are playing cruel and horrible tricks on me. I see how it is. I'm coming for you, Dover. You're next. You're on the list. As we get ready to kick off our next match.
I can't believe you stared at the graphics, you stared at me, and were like, I know I've been casting for 5 hours, but I've got the confidence to know I'm right. It's true belief, and I appreciate it. Like, that's great. I wish I had that confidence. But yeah, and that's why we don't have graphics just yet, which is making sure that's all lined up 100%. But there we go. We're good now. But yeah,
we're not good. It's I'm against the world right now. Still,
but you're winning. That's the problem. You can't take on the world and win, Formal. That's not how this works.
Well, you know who's actually taking on the world? It's Solicit right now, because they have really run a gauntlet of tough opponents in and of itself. You have to remember, they started this quarterfinal run against Ground Zero. Then they went against Forbidden with that new lineup, and Vample now joining that squad looking so scary. And now against the Direwolves, and a chance to take their first big tournament win if you look at that larger scope, this is a team that's constantly top 8, but never really have made those deep runs. This is their chance, but Fiber's going to bang this double down and in, and that's going to be a 1-0 lead for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, there we go. We've seen it happen before, though. You know, they had the same lead in one of their previous games. They dropped. I'm almost certain. But yeah, they are taking an early lead. That feels good. This is their comfort zone. But they've got to kind of make something of it. You know, they can't just like let Solicit just walk over them, kind of like they did before. Maybe not walk over them, but build that deficit into a lead. I guess if I just put it. That's not helpful. What happened there?
What happened there was Vortex just finding the perfect touch on this ball. Fiber too far in front of the box. Misty can't get that read off the backboard as it was a bit of a spiker shot. And that is a great goal. And that is how you tie a series back up. 1 apiece, 4 minutes to play. Direwolves seeing that lead slip out of their grasp once again in this series.
Yeah, geez, that's it's starting to be a bit of a pattern, I guess, for them. But so long as they kind of don't let that sort of thing happen again, they shouldn't be too bad, right? They're Direwolves, they're great, they can do this sort of thing. But I love what I'm seeing from Solicit so much. 2 of their players go up right at the moment, so Zen has a bit of an opportunity to try and counter this one out. Snowy did drop back, so it wasn't quite a full double commit, I think. But Zen just has the ability to flick it over Vortex. Vortex just too solid in defense there. I mean, Fiber doing exactly what you said, being able to back up these players quite nicely. They're not finding too much just yet.
That was dangerous. Fiber almost pulled off what would have been the goal of the night if he'd been able to wrap his car just a little bit more around that ball. He was looking for a goal with that dribble right there. That is spooky, and that is that playmaking ability from Fiber that you've always got to be careful of. If he gets a goal like that, you know the Direwolves are going to get pumped up, and you have to go back to that semifinals. And I believe it was Zed who got that crazy angle shot, and the next thing you know, the Direwolves just unloaded the floodgates, came back, gets that reverse sweep. If the Direwolves can find one of those pop-off moments, you know they can rally around it, and you know they can get back into this final.
Oh, yeah, absolutely do. And I kind of, like, we've seen all 3 of them be able to be that, like, step-up player. I think we've identified Fiber as being a very, very good player this tournament, but not being able to make those huge goals like the rest of the team. You said that's unusual, but it just means there's more build for them to take the reins of this game and just see it through to their victory. Goes with a high shot there. Misty tries to drill it in, and does off the side. I don't think the defenders were quite ready for that, so just weren't able to make the adaptations. But this is just so huge.
I don't think that was the shot Misty was looking for, but we'll take those if you're a Direwolves fan right now. That should be the attitude you have right there. It looked like he was trying to spike a little bit more power down on it, but it also looked like Solicit was expecting that, so who knows? That only Misty knows, and if you ask Misty, Misty's going to tell you that was intentional. It's a 2-1 lead right now for the Direwolves. They've got 2 minutes to hold on. Solicit still trying to put us away here in game number 5.
That's it. Misty says calculated. The scoreline says 2-1 in favor of Direwolves, but they still have to make some work to keep going. Snowy caught in the middle of the air, and Fiber just finds it from the midfield. I would like to have another look at this replay as well, because clearly, Zen gets up and gets it. Fiber just gets a good touch over commitment. A little bit too hungry for that one, maybe Solicit.
Yeah, it's always risky to challenge as a third man when the ball is that close to the net, because you have to cover distance. Like, unless you're a second man, rarely will I see situations where I want a third man pushing that far forward, and that is the exact reason as to why Direwolves are able to find an immediate punishment. And before, 1 goal, that seems feasible. 2 goals down, I know it's considered one of the most dangerous leads, but Direwolves seem to be hitting their mojo right now, and more importantly, Solicit, they're making some of those similar unforced mistakes that we saw back in game number 2, and it's starting to cost them this 5th game.
That's it. We've seen comeback from 2 goals, right? We've seen it come back from even more. So, just comebacks in general from even more. So, I think that in this case, maybe it's not quite the same story, but here we go. Solicit finding another one. Finding a second one, I should say. That's what I meant to say. That's what my brain said. But there we go. Off a bit of a weird contest, but Vortex finding it, putting it within 1 goal. Now it's not a 2-goal lead, see? It's great. It's fine. Everything's calculated.
Back within 1. Can the Direwolves hold out for another minute 15? They want to continue this tournament. That's going to be their best chance. Zen from underneath won't be able to find that next touch. Instead, it will be the defense retaining possession. Snowy tries to pinch it out to himself, but Misty's already there. The tight attack, though, is going to be broken up, and you can see Fiber already so far back. That shot, it was accurate. Looks like Fiber did get enough on it to make the save. Now Tango's going to try and slow play it. Nice dribble up to himself. That is such a technical setup. Somehow, though, the Direwolves make the read to make the save.
Yeah, that's it. Good communications coming in as well here, making sure not to overcommit on these players in the defense, making sure to have these structured attacks, rotating the players through. Good fundamental Rocket League is what you need in a stressful situation like this when so much is on the line. Vortex tries to set up Snowy's in that corner as well, but Fiber just managed to carry it through the midfield. It's looking pretty good right at the moment. I've been like Solicit want this goal so badly. Sure, it's not like the entire series resting on or anything like that, but it would mean a lot to be able to force this overtime and have a bit of this pressure taken off, but Direwolves say no.
I mean, you say it might not mean much, but you have to remember that semifinal and what the Direwolves can do with just even one game win and how they can completely turn this series on its head. 3 seconds ago, last attack from Solicit. Vortex is up, going for the double. It waterfalls down, will be read by the defense. And we are going to Game 6, Fetch, as the Direwolves bring us back to a 3-2 series scoreline.
They are clawing their way back into this one with everything they have. Not letting up, not giving Solicit any more room than they have to, I guess, because there has been room, like kind of some concessions given to Solicit in terms of like some of these goals and some of these plays and some of the pressure, but realistically, I think Direwolves is doing a good job of minimizing that as best they can, right? As best their players individually can, and that's what I'm really liking about this series. I am kind of getting swept away with it a little bit, I will admit, but I am enjoying it. It is a very, very good series right at the moment. But yeah, like looking at that scoreline, that's close. That's an intense scoreline right now. You know, like the 3-2 to Solicit right at the moment.
And the thing that has me impressed about both these teams actually in these situations is just how explosive each of them are seeming to be. Like these goals are coming out from like minuscule lapses of judgment out of defenses. There's a team immediately there to punish. Like it's been some of these quick punishments, it feels like, and it's been a long day. I know I was complaining about it jokingly before, but it's even more so for these players, right? They've been going at it now for 5 hours and 10 minutes or whatever have you. And that's been stop and go in some situations because each of these teams, I'm pretty sure, did qualify as like the #1 seed respectively in their groups before. Like they've each sort of won their way through. Actually, I'm not sure Solicit did. I think Solicit's had a lot more games than Direwolves. I'd have to double check, but the point I'm trying to make is it's now late. These players are going to be feeling that, and they're going to be looking for that big win right here. That is absolutely for sure. Do we see a Game 7, or can Solicit seal the deal now? We are on the pitch for game number 6.
That's it, and I think this is where like having teammates who aren't just good, but really are your friends, you get along with them, is kind of important because like you need that to keep the mentality healthy and not just to give up. Because like you say, it's not just the games, it's also the waiting in between. You know, it's like that's a big part of it too. So let's see how that goes right at the moment. A good job from Solicit to try and run this one through. Haven't managed to keep too much control. Good demo from Snowy as Tango managed to put the ball in a decent position.
No!
Vortex just doesn't find it as Zen just flicks it out wide.
That's so good for Vortex, but unfortunately pushed it a little bit to the left. And we've seen a couple of those realistically from both of these teams at this stage. And now we get to see Tango push forward. That's an unforced error. A very uncharacteristic one as well. And Zen is in prime position to punish. Here comes the Direwolves on the attack. It's a good demo, though, from Snowy to slow it down.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, you know, they haven't managed to break that kind of midfield line, though. That's the thing. Like, Snowy's done a great job of just always kind of being always being a solid player, and I think that's something which has been really valuable for the team right at the moment, but there does need to be something else to step up right at the moment for Solicit. I said right at the moment a few times there, but Solicit would like something else to step up. We highlighted it in Direwolves, like one player to crack a big goal is what would be so great for them to sort of give themselves the courage to really close out this series. I mean, they've obviously had a good run last game, and Zen's trying to be that player, gets it off, but Snowy just bounced it out wide, puts in the corner, and says enough of this attack, at least for now, is Misty. Trying to keep this up. Fiber almost gets it. There was the demo on the defender as well, but just didn't get the re-angle.
The attack does continue. Vortex is going to go up, but from underneath Fiber with a real chance. Defense again holding on, and reminiscent perhaps to some of the series past right now. Direwolves will try to crack the Solicit defense, yet they're unable to break through. Eventually Snowy will try to cross up the field with the pass to Vortex, yet no one wants to go up for it just yet. Misty with the light touch, but here comes Tango, and you expect him to absolutely crack this thing. But with that slower touch, it does give the Direwolves enough time to set themselves up. A nice pass. Miss again by Vortex. Misty, though, with the throwback to Fiber. And we are playing that ping pong. It's a lot more zone, waiting to find the gap. And there it is. Snowy with the chance up the middle. Just missing the beat. Goes for the flick and the demo. That's the goal. 1-0 to Solicit.
I did not see the demo coming through there. I thought that out of nothing, Misty had managed to hold on to this one out of what should have been an impossible save. But no, Snowy finds that demo as well. Like I say, Snowy stepping up at times when the side of Solicit has needed them to. And to be fair, 1-0 is not a super familiar scoreline right now for Solicit. They managed it once or twice, I think, but it doesn't feel that familiar. Snowy whiffs. So did the other player on the attack there, and might have been an unfortunate situation. Not going to get hard punished just yet. Never mind, Zen gets a demo, and it might be blood in the water right here for the for the Wolves.
I don't like calling players out right now, but I'm noticing more and more unforced errors out of Tango in particular, and this is not the time for them. That was Tango who came in like a wrecking ball and, well, didn't wreck anything because I guess it was just a warm-up swing. Zen still trying to drive it straight down the middle, but not going to find too much with it just yet. And those little unforced errors are keeping the Direwolves in this, and this is not a team you want lingering around. 2 minutes to go. Snowy tries to clear it. Zen can't quite corral the ball enough to tap it right on through Tango now. Goes for that challenge, but Misty does enough to disrupt. Here comes Fiber. It's a setup. It's a lob shot. Zen feels a little bit back, but still going to commit for it and turns it into a goal. Direwolves tie us back up at 1 apiece.
That feels pretty good, and they've been like trying really hard to get that goal. Like that almost an exact goal they had like 2 attempts at so far this game. But after after attacking pressure, shot an attempt, they do manage to find the goal, and that's the big part about it. It does only equalize at the moment, but Zen stepping up and being that first player to get a big goal into this, at least tying up the scores and taking a bit of the pressure off Direwolves means they can do their thing. They can get big, they can get creative, they can get a goal off. Mystic from the left half of the field, set up by Fiber, just bouncing along, kind of pulls Vortex into the skirmish there. Didn't see what happened to the rest of the players. Tango's hanging on the left side of the field, and I guess the other player was off getting boost.
Yeah, no, he was getting bumped. You didn't see it from that angle, but there was contact there, and that was great contact by Fiber, opening that doorway. Just under 100 seconds to go, and the Direwolves, they're looking to make another 3-game comeback. I mean, you can't call it a reverse sweep, but it's still that exact same conceded effort that we saw in that semifinal. If they get this win here, they are going to that Game 7. Zen going for a reset to try and put this one away, but not going to find too much just yet. Still a lot of time left, and Solicit, again, they're just as explosive at times as Orange Direwolves, but the players who you want to see be explosive, that's Vortex, that is Tango. And Tango in particular has looked a little sloppy this time around. Maybe he can put it back together. Maybe he can get that momentum going once more, but running out of time to do it, at least within the confines of game number 6.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, still 1 minute to go. Still anything can happen. We've seen so many silly comebacks from Solicit. And that's a bit of an opening there. Kind of one from Snowy running down. Oh, Tango, I think it might have been running down the side of the field, but then just not able to get anything off it right at that second. 40 seconds left. They still have an opportunity. Snowy puts it off the top of the crossbar, but doesn't get it. Now it's Vortex opportunity to carry off it again. Doesn't get it. Fiber passes it out. Zen's running it down the other side of the field, giggling and laughing as best they can, as they feel comfortable. And to be fair at the moment, kind of deserve to.
Oh, now
Vortex and Tango, a bit of a collision.
Vortex as well.
Yeah.
They can't find that momentum back. Fiber with another chance, but not going to put it away just yet. Here comes Solicit, immediately shut down by Misty. That net is open. That falls off the backboard. Doesn't get the double. And that's interesting because Fiber was there right behind. Now, obviously, you would think time, it might not matter, but with that demo, there's a chance. Tango puts up that lob shot, but no boost available. Means Misty should be able to end it. Vortex underneath keeps it alive. Fiber going up. Going to try and down the ball. Instead, resets it to keep it alive. Putting it in no man's land. Tango finds a spot underneath. Eventually, it does get pinched to the ground. And the Direwolves take us to game number 7.
Yes, here we go. Game 7. Winner takes the entire series. A week full of upsets and wild plays, aggressive attacks, and just bizarre moments. You talked about it being the perfect opening for one of these two teams to find it, with Renegades out of the picture, with the Ground Zero out of the picture, with the entire top 4 out of the picture. Direwolves, it could be their week, it could be Solicit's week, but they still have to beat each other, and right now it feels like either of these two teams could claim that Wolf throne, which has been being fought for so hard over the course of this week, and I'm really excited to see this next game. I've got it ready up, but there we are. I'm really excited to see this next game.
Yeah, how ready were you? Well, now you're properly
ready. Certainly not ready. I may have clicked the button saying I'm ready, but I am not ready for what is going to happen in this Game 7.
Now, I do feel something as well, like, we were making up for the time loss, right? We didn't have the RLO Masters in December. We decided to take the Christmas break. All well and good. But that's why we have to have the maximum amount of games possible tonight. You know what? 2 Game 5s, a Game 7 as well. Just get it all in there. Just let it all out. This one for that big victory. And it would mean so much, I feel like, for each of these lineups. It really feels like with Renegades, with Ground Zero, with Cringe Society, all taken out early, someone else had a prime opportunity to get one of these elusive victories. Solicit. It would be so massive for them, but they don't want to have it slip away in a 3-game fashion. Direwolves, though, they've done it once before. They can do it again. This is a team that knows how to win in these clutch situations. This game is going to decide it all, and we are already on the pitch and underway.
Yeah, that's it. Right at the moment, it's kind of the attempt from Solicit to try and hold on to this one. Vortex passed up to Snowy. It's a good threat right now, a good position for the ball to be, but 2 defenders in the exact right position. They did make a big commitment there as Snowy tries to put the ball back on target as well, and yeah, they're still holding on to this attack as well. Direwolves trying really hard to go over these clearances. That was almost huge from Vortex, but once again, Solicit still on the attack. They're holding this attacking structure very, very nicely. No clearances from the Direwolves just yet.
Not yet, but Den is still going to try to push that ball up the middle, tries to get it to that backboard, yet Tango will steal it away. That's a first real shot from Misty, but Snowy from behind is able to find that save. And minute into this game, still no goal. Direwolves had been able to put a bit of attacking pressure, and they're actually going to continue as well. Snowy thought we were going to see that clear, and that's how come he went all the way down. Yet, even in the 2v3 situation, the defense still will hold for Solicit. I mean, Solicit is so keen to go for deep passes right now, so be mindful. When they start to cheat forward, they're going to be looking for them. I don't expect Snowy to give up on that play.
Yeah, absolutely not right now. And I mean, there's like still a lot of work to do, but I agree with you on that one. And I think that like, oh, okay, that's a bit dangerous. That's very dangerous. Misty does manage to clear it out, so I kind of lost my previous point. But, you know, Dial's back in control. They've been looking much better in the last minute or so. There we go. I think that was a flip reset from 5. The camera got a bit funky, so didn't see that one fully. But a shot attempt nonetheless. And we're not seeing the passing plays we saw from Direwolves in the past. We would put it, but, you know, here we are. Opportunity for Snowy. Not going to happen just yet as Fiber just bounced it down to their attacking half.
Fiber trying to find Zen, but Zen a little bit too far back means the defense will be able to bang it away. And now maybe we get to see Solicit on attack it. Tango accidentally, I think, puts it all the way back to his own side of the pitch. Fiber, you can see cheating so far forward. He wanted Zen, actually misses that play. Leaves up to Misty to come up in the third man position. Vortex, though, looking for Tango. There's that cheat forward play. Doesn't result in a goal. And Fiber has just been chasing Tango for like the past 12 seconds. Shot from Zen. I believe enough defenders got in the way, though.
Yeah, I think that was it. It was either that or a really unfortunate touch on the attack, but either way, didn't cross the line. That's the big thing. Zen going really aggressive onto this one, but it did take 2 players to try and clear out that ball. Snowy has an opportunity. The goal is not...
Shot! No butt fumbles from Vortex today. Absolutely puts the power behind that one. Not much Zen can do, and Solicit give themselves that 1-0 lead. Can they hold on for another half of the game, though, against such an explosive offense like the Direwolves? That's going to be their task, unless they can find ways to add to it. Direwolves do get that opening momentum off the kickoff, but already you can see it's starting to be challenged a little bit. Ball held in midfield. Someone's got to be there, and it will be Tango turning that attack around. Alright. I think you might be having my issues, Fetch. I'm really sorry for the timing. I just think I need confirmation from someone real quick. Either way, Danny is starting to push forward. Shot from Fiber will go in. And we are going to be tied at 1 apiece as we take a look at this replay right here. You can see Zen going for that next touch. Sets up Fiber in the box. It will go through. And hopefully we'll be able to get Fetch back in with us momentarily. Fetch, are you back with us? All right, I'm just going to keep running until Dover yells at me. Fiber, with possession of the ball, will take it over the top. That's going to be Misty from underneath, trying to play it into the corner. Vortex going to make that read, and Fetch is back just as Vortex is going to take this one over the middle. Gets bumped, but recovers. Can't get that next touch.
Okay, I was called that I was back right as I unplugged my microphone. So that was awkward timing, but we're good. We are definitely back now. I was so worried for a second there. I don't play my mic, and then our production was like, "Yeah, we can hear you now." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Everyone heard you plugging your mic back in, I think, as we still have a minute 10 to go. It's going to be 10 setting things up. Dude, this is the time when you want to be back, right? This is it. 1 minute, 1-1, final game. It's big. This is what I care about. The rest of it, whatever, you know? But there we go. Yeah, right now it is Direwolves back on the attack right here. I mean, I missed a bit of the game, as you probably heard, because I was trying to fix my mic, apparently. But, like, it seems like Direwolves back on the attack pretty well. You know? They're doing pretty well for themselves here. We're 45 seconds away from a Game 7 overtime to start off 2021, unless Fiber has anything to say about it. We'll try and hold that ball in the corner. You got Tango in the way. Zen's still going to find the shots off the backboard. Double commit, but Tango does take himself back down. Vortex didn't have the height, but Misty didn't have the angle. 30 seconds to go. The Direwolves so hungry for this goal. Misty off the backboard, but Vortex is there and will clear it back across the middle. Vortex again with the touch. Going to set up Snowy. Shot wide right yet again.
Not that time for Snowy, doing so well so far, but just not able to quite find that shot. Tango has the ability to kind of try and make something of this one, gets interrupted by Fiber, but also Zen gets knocked out of the way as well. We might have an overtime. It is the next goal, which is all important, and that is it. Here is the overtime. 1-1 right now. The series, the week overtime. Two of these teams who have fought so hard to get to this position both made huge upsets happen. But now it is up to them to try and finalize it. Snowy goes up high, really good setup, but just gets knocked out by Fiber.
If Snowy had ended it right there with a spike, I would have lost my mind. Still, though, Solicit are keeping the attacking pressure on right now. Zen, awkward read, Tango, nice back pass to Snowy. They'll try to play it off of that backward, but Misty does enough to get it to that wall. Vortex able to get there uncontested. Zen off that backward. It's a weaker touch, but no one falls for the bait. Zen now forced to push it into Tango. Gets that second touch to throw him off balance, but they're not getting the clear. And Solicit is keeping them honest. Missy bumps Zen. They lose possession, but Zen gets that second touch, which saves the counterattack. Now the Direwolves might be able to find something. That shot was accurate, but it's not quite accurate enough. Snowy tries to play through the corner. Misty shuts it down. Tango continuing trying to read that corner. Eventually Zen will bang through, gets the demo, gets the bump. The net should be open, but Tango stops Fiber, sacrificing his car in the process.
That's it. And some great patience and great awareness from Tango as well. Vortex, that wasn't quite the touch he might have wanted. Net might be open, but they don't go straight for the shot. They're passed off to Misty. We see the smoke as kind of clear as we have, again, a setup from the Direwolves, but it's not strong enough right yet to maybe find a goal. They have to find something else a little bit more. Vortex has the ability just to push it out a little bit wide. Tango almost caught off in the rotation. It's Zen going up, but not connecting. Clearance out for Tango should be happening. Misty is trying to do everything they can to stop that one, but again, a flip on the attack.
This is crazy right now. Finally, it looks like Solicit are going to have another chance to try and score as they get on that attacking half, but they're playing so deep. Misty had so much space to work with, will get that pass to Zen, and that is nerves, that is hesitation. They're playing so far back, that means the Direwolves might be able to continue that attack. It looks like eventually they get that ball back to the orange side, but no one is there to immediately challenge, and as long as this continues, the Direwolves should contain it unless they overextend. Now Solicit sees the blood in the water, now they start to push forward. Snowy, though, has to beat out Fiber. Does so. Misty in the goal, needs a good touch, gets it over Snowy, but won't be able to get it past Vortex, who puts it on target. Zen there for the save, but gets bumped from behind. Misty slow plays it, gets it past one, and again the Direwolves look to be on the attack.
Yeah, that's it. They pass it over to him in Tango, once again holding back, being a very good reserve defender right there. And Zen has an opportunity here, has an opening. This could be big, but Tango just carries across the top.
Yeah, unfortunately, by taking that ball that high, Zen couldn't get the power he needed to drive it through. That's a big bump from Tango, yet Fiber still gets to the ball somehow in time to stop what could have been a very open attack. Misty going for the reset to end it, gets a touch on the ball, but not the strike he was looking for. Zen actually loses to Tango. The recovery's there, but the boost isn't. 1v2. Can Tango make it happen? No, because he gets tipped from behind. Zen shutting it down. And every time you think you see the opening, you think you see that moment, and defender comes up just that little bit bigger and shuts down the play before it even starts.
That's it. It's going to be so exhausting right now. 3 minutes in. Snowy whiffs that. Vortex whiffs that. Surely not. It goes up high. Zen has the hit, but it doesn't have the pace. Might dribble it in. Does it? It is so clean from Zen. That had to be the play, which covered a 3-minute overtime after a full best of 7. That was a reset, right? I wasn't watching the first half. Yeah, that's what I thought. That is absurd, that play. It had to be something that exciting to close out what was a fantastic full best of 7 from these two teams. 3 in a row from Direwolves to pull it back. Oh, Lord, Formal, that was incredible.
So, goal of the year. First tournament back. Goal of the year. It could be in contention. Zen, with absolute filth, completes the second 3-game comeback of the night. The Direwolves get them both done in overtime as well, might I add.
Yeah.
It was a Game 5 overtime in the semifinals, a Game 7 overtime in our grand finals, and the Direwolves get a massive victory. I'm hoping they were recording their mics, because I want to hear it. I want to, one of those YouTube videos where it shows the comms and they just lose their mind and start screaming and yelling. Because they popped off for that goal right there. Normally you think it's Misty or Fiber. I mean, more so you think it's Fiber who pulls off those Becky shots, but you forget Zen and what he can do. Phenomenal effort and a well-deserved victory for the Direwolves.
Yeah, absolutely. So much so. People pulling out shots from every single role in the Direwolves. They beat a strong opponent after strong opponent after strong opponent, and they deserved this series. As well as Solicit played, they absolutely, Direwolves deserve to take that, right? They just did so much in this series.
What a series that was. I mean, it was a marathon series. It was a marathon night for all of these teams and all of these players. But the Direwolves, they will go home happy. Solicit, you know what? I think they're going to be feeling pretty proud of their effort as well. You can't not take away their victory they had over Ground Zero and Forbidden. If Solicit continues to play at this level as well, this could be a team to watch out for. Again, it wasn't like the big teams weren't involved. The big 3 played today, just couldn't make those deep runs. So 2021 already shaping up to be quite interesting indeed.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a fantastic year of Rocket League, especially here at RLO. And the thing is, the question which is on my mind, which, if you want answered, you're going to have to come back next week, is going to be the question of, well, does this carry on? Is it just first week weird stuff's happening, or is it going to be the structure for the rest of the year? And I would not be hugely surprised if these teams are stepping up, if we do see more of these upsets. But if you want to find out, guess what? You got to tune in next week. Keep an eye on all of our social media and everything like that to make sure you know when these games are going to be going live.
Yeah, I think next week's going to be a lot of fun. I believe it's going to be Son of Jupiter along with Gex taking the reins. It's going to be an absolute blast. Not to mention all of the community streams coming from everyone. Each team has their own, people stepping up and being able to cover the teams. So it's a lot of fun here. We're kicking off 2021 with as much Rocket League as we can give you. So please stick with us. One last time, a big thank you to the teams, the players, the orgs, Fetch, as well as Dover, as well as High, as well as Timmy, as well as everyone at RLO who helped put this together. And a big thank you to that chat for tuning along and sticking with us through some of our technical difficulties. Normally when a stream is having those issues, you expect the numbers to drop. They just kept rising throughout the night, which is absolutely phenomenal stuff. We definitely feel that love here, and we love throwing it back. So until next week, I have been Formal, joined by Fetch. Have a great night and a great week, everybody.
Taking it one step at a time. I know that I'm not alone. Yeah, we'll be fine. Taking it one step at a time. Walking backwards, losing focus. Slip so slow we didn't